Oh, miss. I can't. Good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing today? My name is Chasity Buckley. I'm the host of Midnight R&B Edition, Homage Midnight Love BET, where I give out my flowers to all my R&B artists, singers, songwriters, and producers. But guys, this discussion I have been waiting for 20 years of my life. I'm gonna get my life, and I'm so excited to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Usher's Confessions, the fourth album that dropped today on March 23rd, 2004. I want to say how y'all guys doing today, how y'all feeling, how are y'all doing?
Hey man, blessed,
Well,
feeling good. Honored to
well,
be part of this platform. There's some heavy hitters on here, so I'm appreciative of the opportunity. So thank you, Chad.
Look, I'm appreciative y'all too, and I'm just excited today because today is the 20th anniversary of Usher's album, and I want to introduce you guys. And I know some of you, I know all y'all, but I know a lot of people don't know each other on this platform, so I have to introduce y'all to get y'all some love and show people who y'all about. So on the right or left of me, I don't know how the way this stream y'all works, but I have my friend I've been knowing for 2021 with. Either way it goes, whatever the ways it goes, 2021. My friend Byron here. He's the host of 90s R&B University. And then I have my friend JR here, the host of the R&B Representers. And then I have the host of Bill and in this corner. And then I have the host of T of the When the Needle Drops. So how y'all doing?
great.
Good.
Thank you so much for having us.
Wonderful, doing wonderful.
Good.
We
My
knew,
wig
we
done fell
knew
off, so
last
we
year
just
you
gonna
were
do
doing
it.
that. Right?
It
Last
is
year
what
you
it
hit me
is,
up
but
and said,
I'm so
I'm doing
excited today.
confession.
You know what it is, because I guess it's just the real deal today, so I'm just have to go in with my ponytail. It is what it
That's
is.
right. That's
All
right.
right, guys. So today we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of Usher's Confessions. So for the first thing we're gonna get started is Byron, how were you introduced to Usher?
Oh, poetic justice, man. 1993. Call Me a Mac. I was obsessed with Poetic Justice. It was my first R-rated movie growing up, and I had to get that soundtrack right after I left the movies. And I heard this song by this amazing kid who was singing some grown-ass vocals, and it was Usher. And I put it aside for a minute because I was still part of Lamberley, and I was still in Mariah Land, but it wasn't until like 1997, 1996 when I finally picked Usher back up and reintroduced myself to him when he started giving me some songs that weren't some songs that a 25-year-old should be singing on that debut album he was giving us, because I didn't know anything about that growing up when I was little. But when he started to meet me on a more relatable level on that You Make Me Wanna and that My Way album, that's when I got really entrenched in his sound and obsessed really with that. But after that, couldn't tell me nothing. He was everything, the quintessential role model for me, as far as what a Black music artist should be doing in my generation. So that was my introduction to him.
Okay, I appreciate that. All right, so JR, what was your first time you were introduced to Usher, Raymond the Fourth?
Same thing as Byron, Call Me a Mac, but I really got into him when Think of You. It still remains my favorite Usher song, period. And then after that, it was like that album was hella grown. It was like, Usher, you weren't doing all of that stuff at the age of 14. Like, let's just say what it is. Like, you was not doing any of that, but he was grown, and Devontae was part of it, and Brian Alexander Morgan and all of them was a part of it, giving him that grown sound. It wasn't like Monica's Miss Thing. That was some grown shit. But, they didn't really accept him like that because Tevin was rocking. You know what I mean? Like, he was that guy. You know what I mean? So it was hard for Usher to kind of swing through. You know what I mean? But once he got to My Way, it was over. It was done. And that's when I really jumped on. I was like, all right, this is true. So it started with Think of You, but then My Way, I was in.
That's what's up. That's good. So Bill, next, same to you. How were you introduced to Usher?
Like the two brothers just said, Poetic Justice soundtrack. However, I definitely remember Can You Get With It? That was Devontae laced him with one on that one. Can You Get With It? And Devontae was creating a sound that, if you think about Changing Faces, and a lot of other people that came after that, that sound was created. And can y'all hear me? I'm good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So Can You Get With It? And he took a 3-year hiatus. Well, no, he was on Black Men United, but as far as him solo, Black Men United, but as far as solo, we didn't see him for 3 years. until 1997 when he came back with My Way. And if you think about it, like you said, Tevin Campbell was there to take over, but Tevin didn't give you the dancing and he just gave you the vocals. So from where Bobby Brown stopped, Usher took over, right?
That's true.
So
bingo.
So there you go. So you got the 97, My Way. He comes back as a, teenager, young adult, and he took off from there. I was a fan ever since.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, so T, next same question. How were you introduced to Usher Raymond IV?
Same thing as these gentlemen. The Poetic Justice just called me a Mac. Wasn't the biggest fan of that song, but like JR said, when Think of You dropped, I mean, the song, the music video was dope. But then he fell away for a little bit, but when he came back with My Way, those songs were hella relatable, man. I was a senior in high school when the album dropped, so every single track I found myself relating to. So, like you said, he sort of picked up where Bobby Brown left off and just ran with it, and he's been as influential or more influential to solo male R&B artists from that point forward. So I've been a fan since, man.
Oh, that is so good. Well, for me, guys, if y'all watched my episode and I was on JR's episode, I said I was introduced to Usher at 7 years old, and I was introduced to him to the My Way album. I did not know he came out in 1994 until 2001 when BET used to rerun Thank You a Lot. So it kind of threw me for a loop because I always thought that My Way was his debut album because that's how he got his, big start for me personally. So when I seen it, I was like, wait a minute, he looks younger than what I seen him the first time. So I'm like, how did he do My Way? And then he got this song called Thank You, and then it just looked weird to me. So when I really realized and looked at his catalog, I was like, oh, okay, he came out in 94 with Brandy and Aaliyah. So they were kind of like those three young ones that came out, in the 94, but Tevin was like the main supreme guy that was really kind of open the doors for them to make a way. So when I seen that, I was kind of thrown for a loop, but I like Usher's Deep Cuts My Bedtime, and that's what really, really made me a super fan. So when they used to play that a lot on Dallas on Flavor TV, the live version, I was like, okay, I like him. He's dope. He's great. I want to see what he has coming up. But, he was always in the acting stuff with Moesha, and then he did The Falcon, and then Light It Up. When people don't talk about Light It Up, that's my movie. And then, he just was in all that. He was, like, making a way. So, him.
Chas,
what you said? Wait a minute. Hold on. What you said?
You my kind of people, Chas.
Bless your heart, but go ahead.
Oh, Lord. Do not start. Look, do not start. You already starting tonight. Look, B Dime's looking in for somebody. We know we're gonna throw our little shade in, but hey, it's gonna be fun. But I know for sure for me, I think with the acting stuff, it made me like, okay, he's cool. He's kind of going in different lanes. But I think once we got into 2001, then I kind of seen the artistry of what he was gonna do. Because like I said, when you're young, you're still trying to find yourself, trying to find what you're trying to do. But like, hey, let me see what Usher has to offer. So for me, that's what really, really made me a fan was with My Way and Bedtime, and that was it. That was it for me. All right, guys. So the next question I have for you guys, when you heard, since today is the 20th anniversary of Confessions, oh my God, today is the 20th anniversary. So I want to ask, when you heard the first time you heard Confessions for the first time, what was your reaction? Who wants to go first?
Is that me?
You go first, Myron, because you're the super fan up in here.
So there's a story around this. So,
Lord.
So I grew up in Brooklyn, and there was a record store out here called Beach Street Records. Back in the day. Yes. Remember that? They weren't supposed to. They would put albums on the shelf the Friday before Street Day. So they would put albums out the Friday, it would come out on Tuesday, right? So I literally got mine fresh out the box on a Friday because I would rush after school. And I had a whole like 5 days of just me with this album. I felt like my little secret before the rest of the world was about to get this album the Tuesday before, right? So had a little alone time for us to get acquainted, and I was just blown away. The Monday before the record came out, so Monday the 22nd of 2004, Teen People did a listening lounge, listening for this album, which they effed up and put me on the list to get in. So this was over at the Canal Room in New York City. And I will never forget, it was a room full of us. Shout out to the Usher board. It was a room full of us fans who were getting to hear this album for the first time. But me, I had already heard it like 3,000 times before then. But
What?
So Usher was signing
Okay.
CD. He was signing memorabilia and everything from fans and all that. And my silly butt hands him my CD to sign, which is not out yet.
Oh,
So
God.
Usher looks at me and literally says, like, "How did you get this?"
What the
Oh wow.
Oh shit.
So, Byron, what happened? What did you do?
I said, "Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's hot." So kind of say yes. He signed it for me anyway. Got it right here, autographed, baby. But that is how I was introduced to this album, and it means so much because of the whole story and the way I got it. And I felt like it was like my little thing before it blew up and everybody got it. So that was my little antidote.
Yeah.
Oh. So did when you say you first heard it, so you heard the leak versions online?
No, I had the record. I had the album.
Oh, you had the actual
This
album?
is the actual CD that I got from Beat Street Records the Friday before it came out. Yes. So I've been playing it ever since. Yeah.
So when you played it, did you how did it make you feel? Did you feel like
you have to play it over and over and over again, right? You had to make sure you didn't miss a thing because it was so nuanced. There was so much going on from the production value to the songwriting, the storytelling that was going on. You know, I know we'll get into the backstory of the album and everything that was swarming in the media at the time, but you just had to absorb every piece of it, and it just took you on all the waves. It was a great hope of R&B, especially after the way that the charts were moving over the last year and a half. I mean, the last R&B artist that we had top the charts was "Step in the Name of Love," which was the December prior. So we, male R&B, I should say, because Alicia Keys coming with "You Don't Know My Name" that was really entered into 2004. But
I agree.
it was what we needed. It was what we needed.
Yeah.
It was refreshing to hear.
I agree. Very refreshing.
And not a lot of samples, right? So there's maybe like 4 samples. So it was like fresh music, which was really amazing.
Yeah. So John, same question. What was the first time when you first heard Confessions, the original one? You first heard the
you better, because we ain't no special edition here. No.
Your answer.
What was your reaction when you first heard it?
Y'all can have that special edition. I'm sorry. But the LimeWire and Kazaa was big at that time. So a lot of these songs were leaked. It was leaked. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these songs that I heard Throwback already. Like I had already heard Confessions 1. I had heard I think I heard Can You Handle It? Burn, unfortunately. And like all of those type of songs, like I heard them already. So it was like once came out, it was like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like it got me hyped to get this album. Yeah. So I was like, yo, playing out the bazoo for real. But then the day it came out, my mom was like, take your ass to Best Buy and go get this album. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, you off work, you go buy it. She was like, no, you're gonna get out of school and you're gonna go buy it. Fine. So I went and brought it, and then on my break, I had actually started listening to it. So I had already knew, obviously, what else was next? I heard Throwback already. So those songs I was already knowing. So a lot of the beginning I had already knew. So then when I got home and I just listened to it on my six CD changer in my house, y'all kids do not know about that, but yes.
They would never.
So I played that and I was like, whoa, like it felt good. Like I'm an R&B head, so it felt good. Like every song going into each just felt good. And like Byron said, you had to listen to it again. Like, is this really what I'm listening to? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I loved it. So then Friday, that was the day that me and my family would play albums, and we would talk about what happened with us during the week and things like that. So Confessions was on blast, and everybody loved it. So this became the family album for real. So it was just like, we loved it. Everybody loved it. To have my grandparents singing "That's What It's Made For" was the worst, but in a good way. Like you got your grandparents singing this song, and it's like, oh, like no, like, but it's as good as it was. It was a good record. So for real, like the first time, it was like it felt so good, but then afterwards, it was like, yeah, this album is the truth. So I loved Confessions when I first heard it, for real.
That's really good. Next, Bill, same reaction. What was your reaction when you first heard Confessions for the first time?
All right, as y'all probably can see with the gray hair, I'm old. I'm
No,
old.
you're not.
So, you know,
I feel you, brother.
Yeah. All right, there you go.
Right.
Gray hair brother over there. But I'm listening at it from a older 20-year-old's ears, right? In perspective. So there was no wasted song. If we're talking about the original disc.
Yes, no special edition. No.
Yeah.
There was nothing wasted. We still had traditional music. We had verse, chorus, bridge. We had the true.
Say that B word again.
Bridge.
Come on.
You know
that
we may need to talk about some bridges going on, but
come on, somebody.
Okay, all right, here we go. But when hit, it was a frenzy. I'm trying to think like Little John was going crazy. You know, I'm in Florida, down in Tampa, and here it just went nuts. It was pandemonium when you heard the song. It was on every single radio station, black, white, no matter what. You can play that song anywhere. That's why it was one of the major feature songs in the Super Bowl, because everybody loves the song.
That's right.
And then once that song hit, then here come the R&B. Here come Burn. Here come everything else, right?
Oh,
so for me, when I think about Confessions, I think about one of the last true forms of music that I grew up on listening to, which, you know, there was nothing wasted. There was no bunch of filler songs. He had true songs. And if you look at a lot of production, I know we're going to talk about this, but Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, when you look at the amount of songs that they did on this album, you can understand why the songs were constructed the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I will say this, y'all. I'm going to throw in something to you before you even say anything. Now, I remember when I had my page, I remember 2 or 3 years ago, a lady, she was upset that Usher was coming with something different because she felt like he was pulling away from the true essence, I guess, of R&B, in her opinion, from the 80s. Why do you feel like some people, I'm just going to kind of throw it out there, I'm like, T, I want to hear your reaction. Why do you think some people feel like when the shift did change, I know we're going to talk a little bit, why do you feel that people feel like he kind of changed R&B and then, I guess, in their opinion, stay true to the 80s type of R&B?
I honestly think it was because of the diversity of the tracks on the album. I mean, like you said, you had your crunk and B, you had you had your ballads, you had your up tempos, you had your mid tempo. So I just think it was just the diversity of the tracks on the album why a lot of older folks were disappointed in what it sounded like. But to us, like Bill, I'm the same way as you, man. I was 23 when this album dropped. Okay. So I was in graduate school. Yeah,
I was at the club.
We was at the club. Yeah.
Opening and closing.
So right, from beginning to end. So I'm 23. I still remember. I'm from South Carolina, so we don't necessarily get the music when it first debuts. But I remember the day I heard for the first time, and it just so happened to be New Year's Eve, 2003, and I was listening to the radio station in Charlotte, and when I heard that, I was like, "Oh my God, Usher on Lil Jon." Because if you were in college at that time, Lil Jon was the soundtrack of your college years. And for him, he was killing it. So for him to work with Usher, blew everybody's mind. And then, like, I don't know. I mean, whoever Usher's people are shouting him because the strategic rollout of this album was amazing. So you had which blew up. Then he going to drop Burn, which didn't do nothing but make his usual fans jump on board too. So I mean, it was perfect. It was just a perfect storm for him.
I agree with you guys, and that's why I say I get the same thing. My reaction, I heard the first time I heard Confessions was a bootleg version from my cousins, and then it was me. I was 14. I was a freshman in high school. I had 2 8-year-old cousins and a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. We all would listen to this album, and we were all in love with this album. We were just like, wait a minute, this is Usher, like Usher, like USHER, Usher, like this is confusing. So when I heard it for the first time, the 2 songs that caught me the most was Caught Up and That's What It's Made For. We listened to those more than the whole album. And we got to listen to the body of work. And it was like, wow, he really, really, really put his foot in it. And I think I was just so intrigued with why he did what he did, because it's very smart, because everybody was so focused on Chili and Usher breaking up. We're like, okay, this baby, quote unquote, that's out, like, who, is he the father? Like, well, we having a Maury situation going on? Like, what's really going on? Like, you know, because I'm young, I'm watching Maury, Jerry Springer back in these days, and like, when you hear all the stuff going on, and now it's in a body of work of the album, it's like, okay, is Usher really out here cheating and getting a girl pregnant? Like, what's really going on? So I think when the drama of his breakup and all that stuff hit, I think us as just kids, we were just so focused about the music and, you know, having fun. But I think when you hit those album cuts, those deep cuts, like you said, Bill, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, they like superseded Bad Girl out here in the club every time. It does not matter wherever you go, Bad Girl gets played. Like, I wish it would have been a single, but for me, in my personal opinion, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis like really, really made the album for what it is. When you get like after, say, Superstar and all this stuff like that, that's when you really, really get deep into the album, like why it did what it did. That's why for me, like those album cuts, I love the singles, but the album cuts for me really, really make the body of the work. And that's why for me, like Byron, it's a no skip. Tell Usher it's a no skip album. I appreciate it. I love it. And at the end of the day, it's something I play forever and a day. And that's why it's number 2. It almost could have been number 1. But number 2 for me, Usher supersedes. And like he made history recently. So how do you feel about that, guys? He recently made history about, you know, being the only male solo artist in this century to have a diamond album.
It's well deserved.
I mean, I think that's huge. Yeah. It's well deserved. I think it's putting a trophy on top of his legacy is already affirmed anyway by the Super Bowl. But I think that just continues his legacy, man. His music is gonna live on for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think when people go back and talk about him when he's no longer with us, they'll reference this album as the one.
You better preach. Okay. I appreciate that. All right. So next question, Brian. Did you think that the landscape, and I think we just kind of talked about it a little bit, did you think R&B had shifted once Confessions came?
Absolutely. And I was thinking about what Bill and T were just talking about. And looking at the charts, it was the R&B charts were looking a lot like rap charts.
Damn.
You're getting, when Nelly is on the R&B charts, and it was just a lot of hip hop collaborations, all that stuff. So it was very smart and strategic, as you said, T, to lead in with which was like this Crunk and B. It was a marriage of the two, right? So you hook people with what they love, which is the Little John sound, and you merge that with Usher's amazing vocal. And then after you hook them with that first song, now we get to the real story that lies here for the rest of the Confessions album. So it was real smart to do. And to your point, it made way for that Crunk and B sound. After this, we start hearing Sierra, we started hearing Run It, all those, and furthermore, I think that what was missing, as we talk about the void that Confessions filled, and why we gravitated so much to it, is because we hadn't really heard something biographical from a male artist. At this time, right? So in the same way that like Velvet Rope gave us like that Deeper Side Janet, or Butterfly gave us Mariah, you know what I mean? There wasn't anything that really came from like a confessional from a male point of view. So that also was something that male listeners love, but female women they flock to hearing this album as well. So it serves so many, and it reached so many generations because it was stories that you could just relate to, or that you, even if you hadn't experienced it, you had talked to someone who had gone through something on this album. So there was always something for you. It's really just goes down to that amazing storytelling, which was missing from music, and that we found on this album in every single track.
I agree. So, Brian, do you think that, I was posing questions to T, do you feel that the woman felt like, do you think she was right that Usher, she blamed it all on Usher about the way it shifted? Do you think that was wrong for her to say that?
I don't think
no.
I don't think he can carry the world.
Yeah. I mean, it ain't all on him. I mean, if anything, you could point to several artists who were quote unquote disappointing their fans, but Usher sure as hell wasn't one of them.
She blamed. She blamed Usher for the way R&B shifted. She blamed him wholeheartedly. She hated him.
If we want to blame somebody for something that R&B shifted, we could blame somebody who's in federal prison right now, whose name I failed to mention. I'm just saying.
But this album, it did shift. It birthed so many. It birthed the next wave of the male R&B artists that required you to show more of yourself. You couldn't just sing songs for single songs. People had to feel like they knew you through your music, right?
Yep.
So we got the Chris, we got the Miguel's and Robin Thicke, from Thicke to Robin Thicke, of course, and then Omarion went solo, stuff like that, where you look for folks to give you a bit more of who they are. That's something that JD speaks candidly about when approaching even the My Way album. Like, we needed to give Usher a personality. And because we didn't really connect when he first came out, right? So because it was, like you said, JR was a Tevin world and we just lived in it, so we had to give people a way to connect to this artist, and really we were able to follow him and grow up with him because he continued to give layers himself. And sometimes you weren't sure if it was real, if he was just the mouthpiece delivering the story, and as we find out that he was, but he sold it. He sold it.
He did. He sold it extremely well, to the point where folks are in their 30s and 40s just now realizing Confessions ain't his story.
With this party. So, JR, my same question to you, sir. Do you think that the landscape of R&B shifted once Confessions hit as well?
Yes, it did, because I think before then it was like Little John and them was coming in. This is 2002, 2003. Little John and them is running it right now. And I felt like there was going to be a switch, because I said, if Little John and them get into R&B the way they are running it right now, it's going to be a wrap. And once I heard I said, uh-oh, that's it. I was like, that's it. He's in, and the shift is really happening. So it really opened the door, like Byron said, for Sierra, Chris, all of this. You know what I'm saying? Because R&B, we didn't have that crunk and B vibe. You know what I'm saying? It was just R&B for what it was, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? And once came out, it opened the door for so many things. You know what I mean? And it was brilliant to start off the album, you know what I mean, to start off the promo, start off all that, because we all know, the album's supposed to come out in 2003, right? Yep. And they wanted Burn to be the single. That would have ruined this album, period. It would have ruined it, because you don't come off the album with a ballad. Like, you don't need that. You know what I'm saying?
You feel like he did not need to bring out Byron, because a lot of people feel like
not as a first single. No, you didn't need that as a first single. You needed people
the first single.
You needed people to anticipate what this album was gonna be. So you needed to get people to be rocking in the clubs and all it is. So by the time you got the album, that's why it was brilliant how Usher started the album with the intro, and then after the story begins. It was brilliant. Like, it was brilliant. And that's why your girls did it after him. They came out with Lose My Breath, right? So that was the single, and then after that, the album began. Well, after Soldier.
And look, whatever. Don't talk about damn song. It was too far. You're going too far.
Usher really wanted Burn to be the first single.
He wanted Burn to be the first single.
He wanted it bad. He didn't even like
Usher, I'm so glad he has other people in his corner to really talk. Because Usher will really ruin some stuff if you let him. Like, for real. I'm sorry, because why would you want Burn as a single? You don't start off as a ballad. Like, you're not that artist. All of your singles, your first singles have been, even Think of You is a up-tempo record, and then you came out with You Make Me Wanna, and then You Remind Me. Then your single gonna be Burn? No, like, it would have ruined this album rollout, and it would have been, I think, just because him and Chili breaking up, he thought, okay, let's go with that. But no, you got to anticipate people to want to listen to this album. And once they hit, it was like, that's it. So it shifted everything, because now everybody is like, ooh, we can do this. We can incorporate crunk and B into our stuff. And now that's why everything completely changed. So, with this, Usher really changed the landscape for real.
The decision to put out over Burn is like the decision of, innovation over complacency, right? So he was
Absolutely.
to, his audience that really brought him mainstream, as we talked about this when I was on your show last time, Chester, was You Got It Bad. And that was like the big crossover song. So Burn to me is like that sort of ballad that he needed on this album. Not You Got It Bad. So he was like, okay, let's go with what people know and love, or we could do something completely different. So bless the people in his corner who were like, no, we're gonna do this first.
We gotta go with this.
I think the album would have had the same impact, but it would have been a slower rollout.
Right. I agree.
All these same songs were there.
That's why a great team is so important. I agree with
Amen,
that.
Tina.
Yeah.
So Bill, same question. Why do you feel that Confessions shifted the playing field of R&B?
Well, when you think about R&B, right, there are always albums that once they hit, they do something to art, they do something to music, right? When I wish I was around at the time when Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life hit. What did they do? You know what I'm saying? And we're still today listening to it. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, when that album hit, how did it change the aspect of music?
Yes.
Now I do remember when Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel hit, right? So when you think about that, it changed the landscape of R&B because it did something that other albums didn't do. So we had so much of a time period because the only other male R&B singer that I can remember at 2004 during the time that was really, really, really making noise was the guy who we won't mention, right? And he's going through the TP2s and the everything. He was what he was, right? He was the biggest of the biggest. Right. But it was still a lane for somebody else to come in and do something different. Usher gave us 8701 and he gave us My Way. That's his trifecta, right? You start with the up tempo song, you give him a ballad right after that, which is My Way, right? 8701 up tempo song, go right to a ballad. Right? Look at this one. Yes, sir. And then you don't change the format of that because now you come with and then you knock them in the head with Burn because you already know what Burn was gonna do because we saw what You Got It Bad did.
Damn, okay.
Right? Yep. So we saw what it did. So follow the same format. And like JR said, where Lil Jon and them was tearing the clubs up. They were tearing it up.
Listen to me.
We're in the South.
I live that.
Okay, exactly. So we're living Lil Jon and that crunk and what he was doing.
Yes.
Listen.
Well, guys,
so for him,
people think Usher didn't do anything. That's why I'm saying they felt like. Well, we'll get to that later on in the talking about who other people.
Some people is stupid. That's what that is. But go ahead, Bill. Go back. Go say what you do.
He was, but he's don't care what they say. He's the singer of that music. That's his album. That album says Usher on it. It don't say nobody else's name. It says Usher. So whatever they want to say is what they want to say. But I'm telling you, we all sitting here in unison saying Usher. So Usher, just like Don't Be Cruel did before him, just like one of the guys, what his album did, what Guy's album did. There are certain albums that once they hit, they change the aspect and the scope of music.
They do.
Yep.
They do.
Yep.
Same question. Do you? Well, you already kind of answered.
Listen, I kind of answered it already, but like everybody else on the panel said, like, and it's funny you bring that up. I was gonna say the same thing. What Bobby did with "Don't Be Cruel" and how he changed the way R&B sound is the exact same way that Usher's Confession changed the way R&B sounded at the time. Because, like you said, shortly thereafter, you got Neo's album come out. Chris Brown album he pretty much used the blueprint of Confessions because almost
say that again, please.
Chris Brown's debut album, self-titled, was the exact same blueprint. He came out with a tempo song. He came out with a mid-tempo, then he dropped a ballad. Like, it was almost the exact same blueprint from Confessions. Yeah, so, I mean, game changer.
straight game changer, and I agree though. Even though I feel like y'all said, and I'm gonna just piggyback a little bit. Once it shifted, it couldn't be stopped because, like we said, we're going into Sierra, a new artist named Sierra. I mean, we're really having like people really have to bring out a fast song to really hit. And then it's about it. You know, it's great. Some people, like I would say Mario Winans. I'm gonna just throw him out here because you know this year will be the 20th anniversary of his debut album. But I feel like when I don't want to know hit for him, it hit for him. He wasn't any Usher. Like we're known for Usher for dancing. He's an entertainer. So when you have somebody like a Usher coming in to his, you know, to his lane and doing what he does, everybody wants to see Usher dance. We're known for Usher for dancing. We call him our little Michael. So why would you come out and like I said, why would he come out with a ballad? Even though we love Usher in his ballad, like Usher can sing about it. That's not no regards to that. But we're known for him for being a full-round entertainer. So that's why when I threw the point out there for him doing his acting and stuff like that, he had something like set up, okay, I'm getting ready to drop an album. I'm getting ready to drop that movie in 2004. And then I'm doing something else like to really open the doors for myself. I said 2004. I don't remember that. I remember the movie, but I ain't like whatever. But for the most part, he had a blueprint of how the way he was going to have the album. JR, you being petty right now. We know the movie. But for the
you said it, I didn't.
Look, I didn't say the movie. I just said he was acting. He did acting. But for the most part, you guys, he had to bring out something fast. He did. Yeah. And I think with Crunk and B, like JR said, we wasn't used to like, we were used to like the New Jack Swing, but I feel like Crunk B was the 2004 New Jack Swing of this era.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where I think the conversation doesn't talk about, like, you know, we have our New Jack Swing from the 80s, 90s, but 2000s, the Crunk and B was our New Jack Swing that Lil Jon just incorporated to open up the doors for, you know, music to change forever.
But I also think, too, with the fact that the label didn't believe in though. So thank God that Lil Jon leaked it. You know what I'm saying? Because if he wouldn't have, the label probably would have went with Burn. You know what I'm saying? They would have because Lil Jon knew. Like I think Lil Jon knew. Like yo, this is a smash. Like yo, so he threw it out to the clubs, and once the club jumped on, the labels realized that and was like, "Oh, we got to get behind this. This got to be the first single." Because they kind of did the same thing with A. Marie for real. You know what I mean? With one thing, they didn't believe in the record, so they leaked the record to the clubs, and you can't help what the clubs feel. Like if they feel it, this is what it is, and the clubs love. Now y'all was in the regular club, but I was in the teen club, so we was loving. So he was loving too. So when they played it the first time in 2003, I was like, "Whoa, this is different." And then the next thing you know, it became a single. So I'm glad that Lil Jon was like, you know what? I'm just going to leak this to the clubs. Because the label really would have messed this up because they would have went with Burn too. They would have went with what Usher wanted. And it would have been this, like Byron said, the album would have really started doing well anyway. Because once people catch on, you can't stop that. Because this album, once you catch on, you're in it. But you needed that first fire banger to really create a lot of buzz around this album, and it did. And then when doing these interviews and talking like, you know, giving us a little bit of stuff, knowing damn well it wasn't his story, but he was giving us a little bit of shit like, oh yeah, it's somebody very close and all this. So it was, it was hot. He was anticipating it with us doing the interview. So it was just, it was like, thank God Lil Jon leaked it, because if he didn't, I don't know which way this album would have went, because everybody have been like, Burn, like what? Okay.
But you know what, JR? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Burn. Real quick, for him dropping to him dropping Burn. If he'd have dropped Burn, that would have been culturally specific for a certain demographics, and that would have, like you said, slowed the progress of the album down. I don't care who you, white, black, Hispanic, everybody was dancing, jamming to So since it was already at the pinnacle of a first release song, we got to roll. It's out. Everybody's blasting. We got to roll with it. If it would have been Burn, it would have been us listening to it. Like, damn, that boy dropped a good one. That boy dropped one.
Right.
That was just us saying it. It would have been us.
Yeah.
I've been to a white club when that was out, and that was like Nuck If You Buck when that came out.
Man, you know how that is.
But I before we go on to the next, I just wanted to just discuss how,
No,
Usher really had to put you out to be like forward moving, right? Because if you can think back to 87.1, he was always fighting for like the next sound because the album 87.1 was leaked, the records were leaked and all that. He had to fight for Just a Friend on 87.1, which he didn't get. They gave it to Mario. Then he has a track called Ride, which has the same Maceo Parker sample, and he loses that to J-Lo.
They lost a lot to her, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, even A-Marie, one thing was supposed to go to J-Lo, right? So passing along. Bad Girl was gonna go to Glenn Lewis at one point.
Wow, that's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's a new.
So there was a
Glenn
lot
Lewis.
of things that kind of had to happen behind the scenes for him to get these songs and for us to have this body of work that feels so forward moving and innovative and game changing, as you said.
Yeah. And can we talk about real quick before you go to the next question, Chasity? Like that video, that was that era in the club where we started dressing business casual too. Usher's outfit from that video. Listen, I was guilty of it.
You did?
You didn't know where I was going.
Yes.
I was going to the club. I was going to work.
Everybody go to the club. I'm going to work. Like seriously, like I can leave. I can leave work on. I can leave
happy
work on
hour.
Casual Friday.
That was a happy hour attire.
Y'all better. I wish I could go to happy hour then, but I couldn't. But go ahead.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people like to kind of give Jay-Z credit for that, like put on the suit, get it tapered up, jeans with the button up. No, Usher started that. Let's give Usher credit and give him props.
Usher did it himself. Jay-Z did it because Beyonce needed him. But go ahead.
The baseball cap with the button-up jeans and sneakers. That was club attire for a while.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Okay,
but you still see some people living in 2004. They'll come back.
Just saying, I agree with that. Just saying. All right, guys. So my next question I'm going to pose to y'all. All right, so now we're getting into the body of the work of Confessions. And so I'm going to ask you, so which producer, Brian, you first, which producer and songwriter do you feel you want to get recognition on this album?
Come on now. I think that we put too much heavy on JD, but for me, it's Jam and Lewis. For real.
There you go.
You better.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah.
I was like, I know Byron ain't gonna play no games. I was waiting for this.
Yeah.
Not on this question right here. They did what they do best, right?
Look,
they
got
can
everybody in
craft
the chat
a story.
agree. Look,
Listen.
Byron,
they are not songwriters, they are authors. The way that they can take someone's story and compose and beginning, middle, and end, you are gripped to every single story on this. And they played into the mystique of the whole Confessions vibe. It kept you wondering. All those songs. What's
better. You
Truth
better.
Hurts. Simple. Truth Hurts is crazy. You know, two verses, he takes you on this lie.
What does that 2 Hurts sound like? It sounds like somebody's getting it by Johnny Taylor, didn't it? The roles reversed.
Yeah.
The roles reversed.
Absolutely. Man, so they are essential to this body of work. We always talk about JD and Brian Michael Cox and all that. Without that section of what's track number, I would say about like
from
9,
it starts at 10.
Like
10.
Yeah, it matters.
Yeah,
and it's such a well composed album. And because you had those players, this album would be nothing without. And what they did for Bad Girl is it don't even sound it's not them, right? But they needed to bring them in because that song needed work, right? The original song Club Girl needed some work. Yeah. And what they did to this day, like you said, it rocks the club. It knocks to this day.
Yes.
To this day, every club I've been to, y'all, I kid you not, every New Year's party I've been to, that song is always played. No lie.
And listen, as soon as that guitar riff drops,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dude, when that
the song already had originally, but what they did, they just add a polish and
the build up, and then when it drop into that chorus,
yes,
man.
Oh God.
But when you think about their just think about their catalog. that's the difference between musicians and someone who can create a song in 10 minutes.
Mhm.
They're
Damn.
cultivating a song.
Yes.
And they're crafting a song. They're thinking about, again, we're going to talk, they're thinking about the beginning, the middle, and the end. How does it open up?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we get them up? How do we keep them there? And how do we go ahead and
Mhm.
land this plane?
Mhm.
You better.
That's what great producers and writers do. And Jimmy Jam and Terry coming out of Minnesota, you come out that Prince camp. Hey man,
Mm-hmm.
hey, it
Yeah, don't give them a theme.
Yeah, like
Hey,
like
boy,
they
listen.
are, like they deserve, like
Hey.
Jam and Lewis deserve every single flower, accolade, award. I mean, period.
Absolutely.
100%.
Like I said, like they're not songwriters. They're authors, like you said, Byron. Like
Yeah.
it's absolutely amazing what they can
Yes.
do to a song.
It's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's almost
And-
like they crafted, like you said, they crafted around the artist. Like
Yes.
I got a perfect song for you, and that's exactly what they do with
That's
everything.
what
they
worked for
touch.
Janet, right? That's
Look
why.
what they did to Janet. Like,
Alexander
Yeah,
O'Neal,
look what they did for Janet.
Pharrell, like
Alexander O'Neal. Yeah.
Listen to the
Yes.
artist, and you
sounds
might
of blackness.
get an amazing
Like,
result,
what are we
right?
talking? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
you want gospel? I give you that.
But you want to
Right.
give somebody a
Yeah, give you that too.
personality, you call Jam and Lewis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And the thing I love about Jam is, like, if you listen to any of the podcasts he's on, he's an open book. He's gonna tell you how the song was created, how it was
Yes.
created,
Yes,
what the
he is.
inspiration behind it was, what instruments they use, what electronic devices they use. Like he's just an open book. And that's great, man. That's helping them preserve their legacy even more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
John,
you
I
said
say
what instruments. I love you said.
Yeah.
I loved you said that.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
instruments.
Yeah,
I
instruments.
loved you say that.
Yes.
Instruments.
Instrumentation.
Instruments. Yeah.
John, same question. What producer and songwriter do you want to give recognition to for this album?
Absolutely, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, because I think that everybody knew when you heard this album, you knew that JD and Brian Michael Cox, they were going to get the singles. They were going to get the singles. You knew it, and that's just what it was. What I like is Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis can go into an album and say, we can get the singles or we can get the album cuts. It don't matter to us. We are still going to give you the flavor of what this album is. You know what I'm saying? And with songs like Truth Hurts and Simple Things and then Bad Girl, and that's what it's made for. That run right there is nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like it is. You know what I'm saying? Like it is and then like you and obviously the singles are supposed to kind of give what Usher was giving in interviews, the lie. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this is confessions. This is, you know, it's somebody close to me in the story. But if you think about the meat of this album, songs like Truth Hurts make sense. Songs like Simple Things make sense because this is really the relationship of what him and Chili was going through at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like this was his story. And what I like what Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis can do is, again, they can get you in a room, you talk to them, and you tell them what's going on in your life, and they make a song out of it. And it's like, whoa, I just sat there and told you about my life, and you just made a song. And I think that's what they did with Usher. Hell, they did that shit with 8701 with him. You know what I'm saying? When you remind me, can you help me? Jesus Christ, can you help me? But like you know what I'm saying? They get with him and they got with Usher, and I feel like they are the meat of this project to me. And I think when it comes to Confessions and it comes to Usher, everybody wants him to work with, you know, JD and Brian Michael Cox and all of this. And I'm like, y'all, that's all well and good, but I'm like, y'all need meat. And Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis gave you that meat of this album. And if it wasn't there, it would have been a whole missing. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a whole completely missing if these songs would have never been there. You can have the singles, but then once these album cuts come along, it's like, wait a minute, some of these songs are just not making sense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So with Jimmy Jam and them coming in, and then when they did the special edition, and they came with Seduction, all of that kind of stuff, that was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I give it a lot. And the reason why I give the special edition fever, because I don't like how, like, songs like Simple Things and Truth Hurts, they fade out too early. They fade out too early on the special edition. So when Usher's doing like talking at the end, or he's doing these extra ad-libs, you're not getting that on the special edition. On the regular version, you're getting that. So to me, it's like you're missing something. And that's why I give the special edition so much fever, because I'm like, when they slow it down, Superstar is like really a 3-minute and 30-second song. By the time when special edition come out, it's 3 minutes and 12 seconds. It's like you're missing 20 seconds of the ending of Superstar. No, like, or Simple Things, or you know what I'm saying? So for me, that's why I give it a lot of fever. But Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis just deserve so much love, because JD and Brian Michael Cox and all of them get the love for this. But it's like, no, Bad Girls rock. You know what I'm saying? Like Bad Girl rock, and you know that's what it's made for. Like what the? Oh my God! Like that just run. That 4-track run is just amazing, and it really is the album.
I want to interject and say we also have to uplift the Avila brothers, whose name appears.
I spoke about it.
And one thing about you, I want to say this: you're the only person I know that gives them a lot of credit. The only platform that gives them a lot of credit.
When those two songs come on, there's a freshness that you just don't hear in music. Like for me. And we talked about this earlier, how like the 80s fans are like disappointed. I think you get that traditional R&B when those songs come in for me, because you get the Jimmy Jam, but you have this fresh take, which is the Avila brothers as well. So that collaboration that they have is crazy. Yeah.
So let me hop in about these 80s people. I'm 80s, so I'm not one of them 80s people. They can't speak for all of us. They can't speak for all of us. Because I was there with all the Luthers and the 80s of the no, they're not speaking, because they're not gonna do that to us. You're talking about he ruined. No. He didn't. No, we gonna stop that. We gonna stop that. And then with the Villa brothers, for them to be with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, they obviously had to see something in those guys to say, hey, we want you to come work, because like that's 4 songs, boom, boom, and they're all in a row. That's not coincidence.
No. Hello.
It's not coincidence.
That's a chapter right there.
That's a chapter, right? Yeah, that's a chapter. That's a chapter. So again, like everybody's saying, it's Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. We can't say no. Say. I mean, we can talk about just those 4 songs alone, and that could be an entire podcast. So they did it. I still do want to give a shout out to JD and B Cox, because when I think about the songs that they did too, like God, them boys them two together could be a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They could be L.A. Reid and Babyface. That is a duo right there. They are a very.
The world is singing Money Long right now is proof of that.
Look at Money Long.
Yeah.
But I thought, and I had to go back and do some research. Do It To Me, right? I didn't know that was Jimmy Jam. I didn't know that was B Cox and Dupree, because to me,
you're right.
Prince.
It don't sound like them.
Don't it?
Yes.
It sounds like Prince. Yes.
Prince.
Yep.
Yes.
It's either Darling Nikki or Computer Blue off of the Purple Rain album. If you listen to that, I can't remember. It's one of the 2 songs. If you listen at that song and you listen at Do It To Me, same song.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
If they tell me that the inspiration for that, if that inspiration didn't come from that song, I'll be in shock, because the song is the exact same format. Let me say, I just say format. I'm not gonna say the same song, but it's the same format.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and so, like you said, like the Avila. I'm glad you shouted out the Avila brothers, because like at first listen, I remember hearing that. I've been a Jam and Lewis fan. Like the first physical piece of music I ever owned was Janet Control album. So I've been a fan of Jam and Lewis for as long as I can remember, right? Yeah. So that don't sound like, those songs didn't sound like Jam and Lewis songs. No! Like they basically helped freshen their sound, and that's pretty dope.
On it.
Those guys had been in the game 20 plus years at that point, and they brought in a fresh set of eyes and new perspective it helped like that album be even more doper than what it was. Like I think that's pretty cool. But as far as producers go, I want to shout out Dre and Vidal, man. Like
I was just about to say, you better say Superstar. Come on,
somebody.
Yeah. I mean, Superstar wasn't a single, but it had single energy. You get what I'm saying? Like,
it did. That's why
it's a single now. It's a single now.
And come on.
I mean, Superstar is so
it's
dope.
A single now.
The thing I love about that song, is like it sort of took on a mind of its own when he did it on Tiny Desk. Like we already knew, the real fans already knew what was up, but when he performed that on Tiny Desk, it went viral.
Yeah,
almost 20 years later. That's insane, man.
Yeah,
shout out to
Dre and Dog. They gave us Superstar and Superstar. Right. They gave us Caught Up and Follow Me, right? Yeah. So yeah.
Who would have thought that the old Happy Days guy would
Amal.
That's the old Happy Days, though.
Who would have thought that? Man, that just shows there. Man, this album is special.
It's very special. Yes. It's very, and I would agree with y'all. For sure agree with you. Like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis deserve so much credit, and Dre Vidal deserves so much credit because I feel like for me, like I said, when I'm with y'all, like I love the singles, and another person I want to give a shout out to is Just Blaze because the sleeper for me is Throwback.
Oh yeah,
Throwback.
Yeah. Oh man,
that is top 5. And I know for me, a person I definitely want to give a shout out to is my girl Patrice Stewart, who did the background vocals for That's What It's Made For. That's actually my number 1 song off this album. A lot of people don't know it. Like, I love the singles. I love Burn. I love them. But That's What It's Made For. That rings music to my ear. Like, what Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis did for that song, like, I could not believe my 8-year-old cousin was singing it. I'm like, wait a minute. What the hell is going on? Like, I know we like these songs, but these kids don't know what the hell this means. But it's like the production that they did was just so different. You didn't even know it was them in the first track, you know?
Yeah.
With them, they give a versatility for Usher, but they know how Usher knows how to sing, but not even that he sings in the way the music conveys. And that's why when I talked to Patrice, when she said about Jim and Jam and Terry Lewis, she said their perfection is like, they want everything to be on point. You can't even put "and" in their song. That's how serious they are. So about English structure, sentence structure, pronunciation, like they take it very seriously. And so for her to, even though she worked with Whitney Houston, she's working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis next, she's like understanding, like, okay, thinking that she's working with Whitney Houston. I'm just assuming about working with Whitney Houston. Like, okay, it's cool. I get it from her perspective, but now I have to work with another legend, like 2 legends, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, because they want me to sing. But I need to learn how to write the songs the way how it is from a man and from a woman to talk in the song. So I think that's just super amazing that y'all give Jimmy and Terry Lewis their flowers. But definitely for sure, Just Blaze for me. When it comes to Throwback, that song is everything. Like I love Throwback, and even though Jerry, you give Jerry, I love the beat for Jerry because I think it brings that.
That Holland Doja. Yeah, that Holland Doja Holland.
Yes, the Dionne Warwick. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But
what was amazing about this is that what's amazing about this album is that you have to go into the. I feel bad for the kids who don't have an actual CD booklet, right? You have to go and find out who produced what because people had to stretch themselves on this album. That does not sound like that. Do It To Me does not sound like a B. Cox.
Hell no.
Because Jimmy Jam collaborated with other artists, it doesn't. Some songs do not sound like Jam and Lewis at all.
Right. And then a lot of people on this album, like we give it Jimmy Jam and Dre and Vidal and Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox. But that goddamn Can You Handle It with Robin Thicke.
And Paul
a lot of people do not talk about that record. A lot of people do not talk about that record. Because, I mean, after you're coming out of That's What It's Made For, which they going in on that record. Like, listen. Yes, and then you go in, Can You Handle It? I could imagine what that demo sound like. Because it sounds like a Robin Thicke record. To me,
it does.
It sounds like Robin Thicke.
That sounded like he could have used that for his sex therapy album.
Yes. So and a lot of people kind of bypass him. And then another one, a lot of people don't talk about is Rich Harrison.
Take your hand.
Take your hand. People don't talk about Rich Harrison like that. It's like Jam and JD and Brian Michael Cox get the love, and then we talk about Jam and Lewis because they are the meat of the record. And then you got Dre and Vidal, you know what I'm saying, that did Caught Up and Superstar. So you got that. And then you got Robin Thicke that did, you know, Can You Handle It? But then Take Your Hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, Take Your Hand. Like, Rich had to be a part of this album, even though Ryan couldn't be because it got stolen. But anyway, I mean, hey, you know what I'm saying? So Rich Harrison, I'm so glad that he still made the project anyway. You know what I mean? Because he could have, because I think Usher really loved Ride. Like, he loved that record.
He did.
So he wanted that on this.
Rights for the J-Lo track.
Oh, yeah, that's why he was like, oh, my name will be going on these songwriting credits. You're not playing.
Absolutely. Better.
Yes. So I think, you know, like you said, Byron, I think everybody on this album really had to do what they had to do to make this album great. Everybody had to come in with the greatness with this album. So to be honest, and you asked that question, sis, I think everybody should get credit for it. Really, everybody should get love for it because it's like at the end of the day, everybody came with their A1 on this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because if it wouldn't have been,
even if they had one track.
Right. Even if they had one song.
It added to the story for sure. It did.
It added to the story. So it's just, to me, it wouldn't have been the masterpiece that it was if everybody didn't come in and do what they do. Jermaine Dupri and them knew they had the singles, they knew it. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis was like, all right, we got these album tracks, cool. Dre and Vidal was like, oh, we got 2 joints? Okay, cool. 3 joints? Okay, cool. You know, Rich Harrison would have had 2, but he was like, I got 1, cool. You know, Robin Thicke, I got 1, we gonna handle it. And everybody did what they need to do. So everybody.
Can we go back? Can we talk about the lost art of sequencing and tracking an album?
Yes, God.
Yes, God. That don't exist anymore. Like the thought of like, okay, let's put this song with this song. Let's match these songs up. Let's put an interlude here. That's a lost art. You don't see that very much anymore.
But wait a minute now, T. Let me tell you this. What I was thinking about, like, what makes this album is so great is that even if you shuffle it, the story is still dynamic.
It doesn't even matter.
You know what?
It don't even matter.
You're right.
You're right.
If you started the album with like "Follow Me," right, where like Usher's ready to get into a relationship, and then that's what it's made for, is like the slip up of unprotected sex and all that stuff, right? And then he has to confess that he got somebody pregnant. Like, it goes back, and then throwback is him looking back on all the things he did wrong. If you take this album from 17 back to 1, it's still an amazing story.
Be
I have a question. Bad Girl. Okay, my guys, I have a question. Do you think Bad Girl and Take Your Hand could have been back to back the way they sound?
Take Your Hand and Bad Girl?
Bad Girl, I don't.
I'm just saying they have the 1920s, like they sound like
Bad Girl.
Bad Girl had to be a little before to me. It had to be up there because
I think
Bad Girl, like T
placed.
said, the way it comes in with that guitar, like it gets you. You need to kind of chill for a minute. You know what I'm saying? After that happened, like you need to like embrace that. So I think the way Bad Girl was at, it was at the great spot. You know what I mean? Like it was good.
Yeah. You know what? Not even. Let's take away even the lyrics of the song. Let's think about the music, the production, right?
Okay.
When I think about, and I know we're not talking about it right now, but I just think about like a Thriller or a Off the Wall album, right? I think about this just the production only.
Yeah.
It takes you here, drops you down a little bit, bring you back up. So it's like a roller coaster where you know, okay, we need to add a dip here. Let's throw a twist here. Let's another dip. I think whoever just know, like again, you talking about JD. What a mastermind in music. You're talking about the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, masterminds of music. So you got masterminds behind, okay, let's think about this as a whole. JD, no, let's move this over here because when we did this for Control, it worked.
Yeah.
So
I think you had, it was just like the meetings of the meeting of the minds.
Yeah.
Even
I think we're not even, I'm sorry, we're not even, we may even be under talking this album. We literally may be.
Speak more, sir.
We may be under talking.
Yeah, let's talk on it. Speak on it.
Let's go on it, Bill. I wanted to go here, but go there, please. Please.
As I sit here thinking about it.
Speak on it, man.
You talking about is Diamond,
14 million. Hold on. 14 million, Byron. What is it? 14 million now?
15.
15.
And it's an R&B album. Come on, somebody.
I just bought it again.
I think of the 21st century, I think the only other close R&B album would number-wise would be Justin's. Was it Justified?
Justified, yeah.
I don't know him. Go ahead.
But
Yeah.
y'all go ahead, man. Go ahead. Y'all
No, I'm playing, Bill. I'm playing. No. Go ahead.
No. I'm just thinking about the album. I'm just like, y'all go ahead because I
But that's
I don't know what
the
else to
whole
say
story
about
about
this
the impact of 8701. But
damn.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say
Yeah,
about
July,
the album. God.
Mhm. Even the transition from like the levity of like that's what's made for, like how playful that is, to now we're getting into can you handle it, and how like serious and intense this moment is clever and well thought out.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
attention to detail.
And just to think that this is such an R&B album. That's what I'm bugged out about. Because there's no pop
there ain't no pop.
to it. There's no pop at all. There's no crossover at all.
Nope.
Even though I give Burn a lot of fever, I do. But that's an R&B record, though. Like, you can't deny that. Like, this album is completely R&B. It's an R&B record. And to sell 15 million, mind y'all, during this time, we had the LimeWire, Kazaa, all this shit, all this.
You had to run your butt to Best Buy, JR.
Everybody going out buying this album, yo. It sold 1 million in a week. Like, an R&B album to do something like this? Like,
remember
we
that
will
that's
never
the same,
get that again. We will never get that again.
Wasn't that the same year 50 dropped?
No.
50 dropped the same
No, 50 dropped in 2003. And he did like 800,000.
Of the century. My bad.
Yes. You're right.
So you talking about Nelly? You got Nelly. You got rap going crazy.
Nuts.
And here come Usher coming with this R&B album, like you just said, JR, a true R&B album that's hitting you with a $1 million, 100 million sales in 1 week. 7 days. 7 days.
It was a hunger for it. It was such a hunger for it. And even the word got out that it was R&B album, and people still kept buying it.
Yes.
If they didn't drop
like you said, JR, pure R&B.
They wouldn't got this.
There ain't no filler. There ain't no filler tracks on it.
None.
No filler tracks on it. Ain't no fluff.
Nothing.
It ain't no pop. Like every single track on it. Like I'm thinking now, like, could he really have dropped almost every damn song on that album as a single and it would have charted? Like, that's how good this album is. Like, real talk.
Someone in the chat brought up Rhythm City, right? So he could have done a whole visual album had he wanted to with every song on it.
And mind you, in the space that we're in now, you know how people bring out their albums and every song on the album charts. Usher could have did that in 2004 if we had streaming. Really. Because a lot of these songs, like we said in the episode, Chasity, how we said that a lot of these songs, like Bad Girl was not officially a single, but the joint was played in the clubs.
We made so many song singles on our own.
That's what we did. We made it singles.
At my prom,
we made them singles.
This is my prom year. We were playing That's What It's Made For at my prom. Like,
yeah.
Even though finally the teachers heard and it was like, hold on, we need to cut this off. But, at the end of the day, we made some of these. Because our prom was in May, June. We already done had the album about 2-3 months already. So everybody is having their favorites already. So it's like, is out, Burn is out, Confessions Part 2 is out. We're playing that because that's what's hot. You know what I'm saying? But then everybody's like, I want to hear Bad Girl. I want to hear Caught Up. I want to hear That's What It's Made For. I want to hear that. We did That's What It's Made For because we really want to hear Can You Handle It, but we didn't want to go that far. So we kept it there. But it's just I want these people to really understand what this album really did, because a lot of people think, they kind of like try to brush over Confessions, which bothers me a little bit when I see this online and this whole Chris Brown bullshit to me.
Right.
And I'm like, Chris Brown wish he would have had a Confessions era like
so
this. He would never.
Right now, my gentleman on the panel, do you feel? Because I mean, we already been kind of talking about this. Oh Lord, y'all already saying no.
No.
Look,
I think I know the question. The answer is no.
Okay.
Go ahead and answer. Go ahead and ask. So we
Right,
Go ahead,
Chasity. This your show. This your show, girl. Go ahead and ask.
I get what you guys are saying, but my question is, why do you feel that, I guess, this generation in general, because we're talking about the 2000s, we're in the 21st century, we're still in this. Right. Why do you feel that this generation, I guess in general, because like I said, we go from the young ones to, 50 Cent. We got to include him in as well. Why do you feel that the generation of the 21st century doesn't respect Usher, I guess, and Confessions being the impact they give Chris Brown being the blueprints of Michael instead of Usher?
It's kind of like Michael, to be honest. If you did not live in the era when the album came out, you can't speak like at all. Like if you were not there when Thriller came out, don't speak about it because you don't understand it. If you was not there when Confessions came out and lived it and understand how much of a freaking phenomenon this album was, you can't speak on it. So you won't understand. You know what I'm saying? These kids now, they understand what Usher was looking for myself. That's what they know. They don't understand.
I was told by a lot of these fans, they feel like because Chris puts more music out, they feel like that's why.
No. Well,
that's the problem.
He does it because
that's the problem.
That's the problem, Chasity. It's too much music.
It is
too much saturation.
Yes,
it's too much music. Like back then, you had to wait a year or two for an artist to drop an album, and you knew when they dropped it that it was going to be well done and carefully crafted. Yes. You ain't gonna get an album with 20 tracks on it with a whole bunch of BS and fillers. Like people took time to create and craft well-written, well-produced songs. So like that's the problem with I'm gonna speak of my sons of this generation. He's 17. It's too much music to choose from. Therefore, they don't know. They really don't know.
It's short attention span.
It is.
And it's because of the streaming era, right? To your point, there's so much music. It's not the days where everybody's listening to the same thing or watching the same thing at the same time, so they don't know that moment where everybody absorbing the same record at the same time, having to go to this store, you gotta go to another store because that one sold out, or this one.
Hello.
And now the streaming, you can pre-save an album, and you can pre-save a whole bunch of albums and wake up on Friday and you have 4 albums on your library to jump around to.
Yeah.
Whereas you had an album and that was your album that you cuddled up with and you read the liner notes and that's what you had conversation about. Like you learned every single lyric and every single song. And who anymore? You on to the next one real quick.
But you gotta also. Do you think that? Okay, so my question is if we're gonna do like equation wise of Michael, who do you think is on a Michael level? Is it Usher or Chris?
Neither one.
So
nobody.
Neither one of them.
Let me talk on Mike.
I love how Usher.
Go ahead. What you gotta say, Bill?
Oh, my bad, Bill. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Again, I ain't gonna say my age, but I'm on the other side of the 40s, right? When Michael Jackson hit, right? Because you gotta remember, Mike came from the whole Jackson 5, then the Jacksons, then the Wiz. So we were watching Mike. Kind of go through. Everybody always knew Mike was Mike, right? But something happened to where Mike became a global icon. Keyword is global, not a pop icon, not a R&B icon. He became a global icon. I'm talking about Mike could go in any neighborhood. Mike could go into anywhere. You got Princess Diana. They're asking for him.
Yeah.
As far as what I see, right? Nobody is close to Mike.
Yes.
The only person who would be, if we're talking about a race and somebody's at the finish line and somebody's at whatever, it'd probably be Beyonce, to be honest. It's nobody else.
Yeah.
It's nobody else.
But even
nobody
then,
else.
she still ain't
And
close.
she's so far away.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
ain't close.
She's far. Like we talking about male,
close.
that kind of a male artist, ain't nobody
But
close to it.
But you see what Usher like does in his interviews, and that's what I like when this whole thing of, you know, the king of R&B and all this kind of stuff. He said everybody has their own lane, yo. Like he's like, I've been inspired by Michael. I will never be him. I'm inspired by Marvin. I will never be him. They inspired me, and I created my own lane. So just like Byron said, once Usher did My Way and 8701, he opened the lane for the Chris, for the Trey, for the this, for the Neo, for the this. He opened it for them. So when Chris came, he opened up the lane for the ones that came after him. So when they are not, when it comes to Michael is just up there and can't be touched.
He's different.
He just can't be touched. Y'all will never have a phenomenon like him, and then with selling records like him when there was no streaming. There was no nothing. People was actually going out buying.
People were going to go to the store to buy records and cassettes.
I can't tell you how many times I've owned Thriller. I don't know how many times I've owned the actual physical copy of Thriller, whether it's the CD, the tape, the disc. I've had it so many times, and you open it, and he's laying there with the little tiger. Nobody can recreate that. Nobody.
We have to stop saying who's the next Michael, right? And keep saying,
go.
You know, we have to stop saying, "Oh, Usher's the next Michael, Chris Brown's the next Michael, Beyonce's the next Michael." No, these people are their own. They have carved lanes for themselves, and they made a way and inspired someone else to do their thing. We really have to get out of that mentality that somebody needs to be replaced. You know, because other genres may say, "Oh, this person is trying to be this person." We never hear that in other genres. Every artist on their own 2 feet. So we really have to get out of that mentality. And just know that everybody can take up space and everybody can inspire somebody else to do something amazing. So
Janet did it with Aaliyah.
Aaliyah and I'll say this. She did. As far as like Mike, it coming from that era of preparation and true artistry and like working on your craft. Like the Ushers and the Beyoncés of the world are the last of their kind. Like the record labels really put they really put a lot of energy into them as young people, and as a result, they still maintain that work ethic. So you don't see that as much anymore. Folks really want a hit right out the box. Like, and record labels want that too. Like, it ain't gonna be no slow burn. I'm gonna give you a second chance. If the album don't hit the first time, they gonna cut you.
There's no development. There's no development like that
at all. No, they took that out.
No, there's no development.
No, they're gone.
That's sad. It don't make no sense. All right, guys. So another question I wanted to ask you: which confessions do you prefer, the original or the special?
Y'all.
I mean, I'm gonna piggyback on AR's comments that he said earlier. Just because songs had to suffer, amazing songs that we know from the standard version that were cut down to fit, you know, whatever the limit was on the CD.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could have done without a collect call from Shine so that I could get more superstar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because of that, I gravitate towards. Now, I will say this: I do like the special edition only because very rare do you hear a 17-track album and be like, I want to hear more. I want to hear because he recorded 40 songs for this album, and I'm curious. I want to hear what else he did for this album. So I was grateful to get an expanded version, and you know, we got Seduction, you know, and I know you don't like it, JR, but I do like My Boo. I love that song. I remember when there was a demo with the Beyonce.
JR shut his camera off.
But I remember when it first came out, you know, the leaked version was a reference for Beyonce to be on the track. This was supposed to be like the culmination of her, you know, her naughty girl, and then him being in the bad girl, and then they coming together to do their collaboration at first. Season because you know she was blowing up at the time, and you know everything
Crazy.
Chiquise at that moment, you know. So I'm grateful for all of that. But to JR's point, I just wish that they could have kept the songs the length so you could hear all of the amazing things that Usher was doing as those songs were fading out. Because I still wanted those songs to go longer, especially Superstar.
Oh,
You know? Yeah.
yeah.
20 seconds makes a world of difference when you cut
It
it.
does.
Absolutely.
It kind of gives you the feeling of what it is like you're used to. When you listen to an album so long, it's like, what happened? Like, this is not what I heard the first time.
And that's what's made for. When that fades down, I get so pissed.
Yes.
I get so pissed.
So can we just say we want the original with My Boo as a single?
Yeah.
Can we just say?
I don't even really need Red Light.
I don't need nothing else. Yeah, I don't need
JR's
nothing else.
face.
Yeah. I definitely don't need that remix. That Confessions remix.
I think I'm
As
with,
an extra single,
I'm
just a
with
single.
the rest of the group. Yeah, I'm with the rest of the group. I prefer the original too.
Yeah,
I prefer the original. My Boo, I get it. I understand why.
It was cool.
But if I were to include a song from the deluxe edition or the extended version, I would include Seduction.
Yeah. That's
Agreed.
the reason why I bought it. It was because Seduction. Jimmy Jam looked like Seduction was the one. You know what, honestly, guys, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, do you think Lovers and Friends should have been on Confessions Special Edition?
I wouldn't have been mad at it, to be honest.
Nah. It would have fit.
It would have.
It would have fit. But you know, looking at the track record of Usher and how even on 87 and 1, like the tracks, we're gonna go back into the studio. We're gonna do it again. You know what I mean? Same with, Confessions. He didn't really want to put the old stuff on like his new projects, right? So
yeah.
That Lovers and Friends, though, man, the clubs was going.
Oh my God!
And
I used to sing the original by Michael Sterling.
Yeah,
I sung the original.
Come on, Bill!
Hey, Michael Sterling.
Hey, Bill, you know your age for real now, bro.
Hey, Michael Sterling.
I love it though, man. That's all right.
Yes.
I feel like Lovers and Friends. I feel like I would have thought it would have been on there if I would have got it, but I mean, it wasn't. So, guys, my question, another question I'm gonna pose. I didn't put this on there, but what do you think is the best song off the Confessions album?
Come on now.
You mean for that?
Ooh.
You mean for that? You mean for that? You're mean.
So we gotta pick one, just one.
Just one.
I mean, it's Superstar. For me, it
I
is
agree.
Sorry. A song that to this, like you said, is still has people sitting with their families on steps trying to do that opening riff. Multi-generation. Like a song 20 years and was never a single.
Nope.
And that's
Never.
No.
But everybody knows it.
Yes.
Everybody. A 1-year-old knows it. A 1-year-old Byron, the 1-year-old from TikTok.
Yeah.
How does a 1-year-old know the riffs?
Has Superstar become like his most recognizable song on that album?
It could be.
It could
The
be.
intro part.
It would be right behind. It would be right behind the instrumental to Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm agreeing with Byron. Superstar. Superstar is just it. And to have faith on them backgrounds like she is, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just let me tell you, Dre and Duvall and Ryan Toby and all of them was in their bag with that. You know what I'm saying? And then to have the way, and then what I like about Superstar is the fact that you get the interlude before then.
To me, that one song, right, JR? That's one song. I gotta have the intro before I get.
Yes, because it's like you get the album, you got Confessions Part 2, you got Burn, so you kind of get in this story, right? And then you go into Caught Up, so you get into this up tempo joint, you partying, and then it goes into the Superstar interlude. And then it's just like, you're my number one. Like Usher is getting you prepared. And then it goes right into like, do you know the crowd is going crazy and yelling, Usher, Usher. And then it goes, like, I was like, that was brilliant because sometimes, like, shout out to my co-star Elise. Elise hates interludes. She can't stand them. Like she does not like interludes. But like she said on the episode, you needed this interlude after Caught Up. You needed it. Like you needed it to jump into Superstar. It made sense. You know what I'm saying? So it just was like, oh God, like Superstar is it. So when he did it on Super Bowl for like 5 seconds, I was losing my mind in this house. Like
I don't know if it was for Super Bowl. I don't know if it was like built in, like everyone singing the riff, or if that was like the crowd doing the riff. Because it was crazy.
We all knew it.
I was like, he's not doing this on the Super Bowl stage. And mind you, like T was saying, there's no pop of this album at all. There's no at all. So for him to do this record on Super Bowl stage was bugged out to me because I never even expected. I was like, he's not gonna do that. Y'all know when it came to Super Bowl, I was like, he's gonna do that DJ Falling in Love Again and Scream.
I knew that,
That's where I thought he was gonna go. But Usher was like, when he said, I'm keeping it R&B, he did not lie at all. So for him to do Superstar, I was like, thank you, Usher, on a big platform for them people that, all right, I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if y'all gonna agree. But y'all know us black people don't be going out buying albums like that. Them white people went out and brought Confessions. For real, for real. We went out and bought Listen, because we gonna go and buy them bootlegs. People went on Kazaa and LimeWire and downloaded them joints because it was cheap. But let me tell you something. Them white people went out broke because he could not sell 15 million like that, and it's just us. Period.
No. And after the Super Bowl, it goes Diamond, right?
There it is.
So
it was them. You better believe some of the people, them whites in that crowd, was singing Superstar just like we were at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was just, So for Byron, I agree with you. Superstar is the best song on the album for me.
Is that the best? Is that your favorite song?
No, it's the best.
Do I feel like it's my favorite? It's my favorite too. It is my favorite.
Okay.
It's my favorite too.
I'm kind of.
My favorite is That's What It's Made For, but the best is gonna be Superstar. My favorite is That's What It's Made For. Like that song will always get played, but the best is Superstar.
I can't. It's like throwing a bunch of stuff in the air and whatever hits. Like, cause I mean that guitar riff at the beginning of Bad Girl just
damn
just dumb. It's just dumb. Like, who made that? Why did y'all do that?
The Rocket.
It's like, why did you do it? Like, what made you put it right there? Like the guitar riff. I don't know on Never Too Much by Luther. That bass at the very beginning. He said he was playing around when he did that. That wasn't Marcus Miller. He was playing around when he did that.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
But we know once you hear that, dun, 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 I don't know. I give you Superstar because I don't know. Yeah, I go with the group. Superstar.
I mean,
if y'all have said Burn, I was going Burn.
They both got played the Super Bowl, so
Bill, I don't. Bill, I'm with you, man. Like it's one, like you said, it's one of them things. It's like trying to choose your favorite kid. I got 3 of them, and I love them all the same sometimes. But that's how it is with this album, man. It's like, so my favorite song on the album is Throwback. Because I'm a Just Blaze fanatic. I mean, what he was doing during that time with Rockefeller and some of the other rap artists he was working with was absolutely incredible. And you know him from his drums, from his drums and all his songs. Yep. So, but as far as best song on the album, my goodness. I don't know.
If y'all say Superstar, I go with Superstar.
No, but to be honest, you can't be mad at anything.
But all of my
don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll say this. So my favorite song, the best song on the album since I started listening to it again this week just to kind of get ready for the show.
Yeah.
Bad Girl, man, that instrumental so damn good.
Yes.
But I did put throwback as like a question mark because I did go back and forth with a few of them. I mean,
Go back and
that beat was supposed to be on a Dr. Dre record.
Yep.
But Detox never came out. We still waiting for Detox, and that's why You're Gonna Want Me Back was supposed to be about like his last album. You're Gonna Want Me Back into the record industry, but then they didn't use it for him. So luckily they gave it to Usher, and what he did with that, what him and Rico Love did with that, insane.
And to me, Do It To Me, just Prince. I Do It To Me, like I run to that all the time.
I
just run to it.
You don't hear a lot of people talk about Do It To Me. That's very rare.
Yes.
Do It To Me definitely goes on the GTD mixtape.
Come on, somebody.
Just saying.
And you see, he kind of did it like, and y'all see how he kind of did it like how albums were back then.
Hey, yo, Robin Thicke. Wait, hold on, pause. Robin Thicke just mentioned us.
Who?
Robin Thicke.
Oh, hey.
For real?
Hey, Robin.
I'm not lying. I'm
quit playing.
Wow.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Robin. Okay. But you know how
Robin, can we get another person?
Say it, T. Say it.
Hey, Robin, can we get another vinyl pressing of the evolution of Robin Thicke? I got it. I got it on my phone. I need the vinyl, brother. Hey,
Robin Thicke.
My goal is to go back and get every iconic album on vinyl. I just picked up Songs from the Key of Life. Just picked that one up. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm a huge vinyl head, man. Like, I don't even have nowhere to put them anymore. Like,
Okay. All right.
Don't do that bullshit. Look, I cannot.
But I love how Usher.
He really reposted us. I'm looking at my Insta story and submission. I mentioned him in our today's anniversary.
Oh wow, that's what's up. I like how Usher kind of did the ending of this album, to be honest with you, because y'all know back in the days where it was like the beginning of the albums used to be the up tempos and all that, and then you got to the end and it was all about the ballads, the love making joints. That's what he did. You know what I mean? Usher did that. He got us ready because he started with That's What's It Made For, and then he went into Can You Handle It? Then Do It To Me. Like, he was preparing us for what was happening.
And he picks up the pace, right? He picks up the pace,
Like, yes. And then he was like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to end the album. He was like, you know what? I'm going to end it. I ended on the up. I'm going to end it on the up because you do Take My Hand and Follow Me. You know what I mean? So, but again, I just love how just the ending of it, he just was like that 3-song run. It was like, all right, this is for the love makers. This is for, you know what I'm saying? This is for the GTD list. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello, he let it be known. You know, I done had this on a couple of playlists a couple of times, but
Amen.
But even that is brilliant, right? So the storytelling, the whole story that goes on, like after he's confessed and everything, now he's ready to get back into something, a new relationship. You know, it's not just growth along the course of the album.
Absolutely.
So my question is, I want to pose to you: do you think we will ever get an artist in this generation to get a confession moment?
Hell no.
No.
Because music has changed. Music is different. You know?
That's it right there, Byron.
Yeah. Music has changed. The way we consume it is different. And like,
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, do you think because of streaming and stuff, that's the reason why it's toward the artistry or both?
Yeah. I mean, I think there are moments where you see like the hope of that artist who might be sustaining people's attention, right? So SZA, like she was on the charts all year last year. She was never a moment where she wasn't on the charts with that album, you know, and breaking records along the way, you know. So you see those pockets, but it's not going to have the same impact.
No,
but never.
It won't. And to the point I made earlier, and Bill agreed with me, like A&R don't exist. So we're not record labels aren't putting the energy, the time, and the effort to develop these artists fully to put together truly cohesive albums around a theme in order and put it and make sure that there's a strategy behind releasing the album so the album can blow up. So no, I don't see that
and
happening.
So many times, right? What's the norm now?
Happening
Everyone starts dropping singles and then you don't have an album.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If it's not Beyonce, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's true.
Because if you think about like her, was it the Renaissance that just came out?
Yes,
that was it was a thing. It was a movement.
Yeah,
like her albums are movement,
right? That's what we want in a concept.
Yeah, and we're not gonna get. We're just.
And then we don't have like the street teams that we used to have. Like they used to be out there with y'all know that when like albums was posted on like the walls, it's like coming soon. And albums used to be posted on buses and this, and then you had all the type of street teams that was out there that was getting you really anticipated for this album to be released. We don't got that no more. The only thing you got is okay, you put it online, you put it on your, you know what I'm saying, you tweet it, you Instagram it, and that's all you get. You know what I mean? You don't get the feeling. We don't have feelings about albums anymore.
And something that we didn't talk about, as you talked about feelings, right, JR? Like we were invested in this story.
Yeah.
Right. And this album is a masterclass in marketing and PR. Right. It took everything that we knew that was going on, because we didn't have social media being everybody's business, but we knew about Usher and Chili's relationship from what we saw from the New Remind Me to the You Got It Bad and all that. That's what we thought was the truth, you know. And then we found out that there was something different going on, and then that set this album up perfectly. Yeah, even the timing, you couldn't ask for better timing for this album to come out where we were all like hanging on this relationship. We wanted this relationship to work so bad that we wanted to know everything about it that was going on. Right now, there's so much access to everybody's business. You can scroll and see everybody who broke up, who stayed room, everybody see that little red split, you know something wrong. You know, you have so much access to people's relationships that there's no mystery, and that's what this album offers. Right? And I think also kind of what was going on. This is when artists, the only way you knew about an artist was what they gave you on in the booth, right?
Yeah,
and this is too much. Like everybody says, too much music. It's too much.
And we're not able to live with albums anymore. I remember when our artists used to come out. Like again, Usher came out with 8701 in what 2001, right? He didn't come with Confessions in 2004, so we got to live with 8701. So when by the time Confessions came out, we were ready. It was like, okay, we're ready for this new project. Now it's like people are coming out with an album today, and then in a month you're coming out with another one. We're not living with the album that you gave us. So what do you think we're supposed to do? Like, no,
it's the thing that annoyed me about Chris Brown, to be honest. Like,
talk about it.
33 tracks on the album, and then
I ain't listening.
Hello, I'm not listening.
Go back to that, Byron. Go back to that.
So you drop an album, 33 songs, and then you put out a song that's not on the album. I don't understand.
So you got 33 songs, and then let's take a Thriller. No, I don't want to take
9.
Let's take a Don't Be Cruel. 9.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, give
9.
me the album in 9.
I got a 9 album classic compared to 33 songs that I can just keep listening. I get as much as remember how you just said you wanted Confessions to keep going?
Yes. Yeah.
But you got 33 songs.
I was looking at the
over here. I got 9.
How long is this gonna be?
And then nobody even cares anymore.
I'm not listening because it's just too much. Like I remember going to the store, getting the album, coming home. You got to open it up, and you got to read. You got to start reading right there. You got to start reading. You start reading the lyrics. You start reading who
that was a
produced
ritual.
it.
Getting your CD, opening up the plastic.
Who do they think? Who do they think? Now you got to put the CD in, and it wasn't. You can't like put your finger and scroll. You got to hold the button down if you want to
hold the button.
Skip. Yeah. Oh man, we throwing it in and you let it ride.
Let it ride.
And now you've got time to build with the album. You got time to let me start reading the lyrics with it.
Yes.
And the songs are 2 minutes, right? So the songs are 2 minutes now because there's no bridge. There's
no bridge.
Yeah.
So can you sing?
No bridge. Bring back the bridge.
Can you sing it? You got to sing
it.
it. You have to know how to sing if you got a bridge.
Oh, you said it.
My bad. I ain't mean to say that. I ain't mean to say that.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
We know Wanye gonna give you a bridge.
Truth though.
We know Wanye gonna give you a bridge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. So, okay, another question I got posed, guys, since we are talking about Confessions and the trajectory and everything. Do you think that Confessions is gonna sell like a Thriller as the years go by?
No.
I'm saying like numbers.
No. First year Thriller was like 35.
Yeah, I think so.
First year.
Yeah.
First year.
You can't recreate the numbers.
And listen, you say 35.
That was just the first year.
It's getting up going.
It's 70 now. Yeah, and you at the store.
You're going in the store.
Yeah. And Usher's at 15 right now.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You got to catch my first year.
You don't have to chase it though. I don't think it needs to chase it. It doesn't need to chase it.
No, it's fine where it's.
No, it's fine where it is.
He's fine where he is. He's doing well.
But he's gonna reach double down status. We know
it's gonna go up. Unfortunately, you know what happens when people pass and all that stuff. Then albums spike up.
Streaming.
Yeah. But that's gonna happen. But
you can't. Mike still sells probably like millions of Thriller sells millions every year.
Right.
Yeah. That's you can't catch it.
Yeah.
I think that this is, if you want to compare, I guess, and obviously this is what this generation does now. It's about the comparison thing. Yeah. I think this is Usher's Thriller. You know what I mean? Like this is his Thriller era.
Absolutely. What is Chris Brown's? Because people think it's Chris Brown.
I don't know, ma'am.
He don't have one.
It's very telling that everyone's favorite Chris Brown album is like the debut. That's all I'm gonna say.
I said the same thing.
It's
the only one I own.
And he's got like 10 albums, 11 albums.
Really?
And then what, right, that part, Byron. And then what people bother me with is how y'all trying to diss this man. And if you look at Chris Brown's first 2 albums, to be honest with you, which are his best, what era does he give you? My Way.
My Way.
So how are y'all even comparing him and Chris? Like, that's why I'm like, when I feel like people do that just to troll with this. And I think this generation knows how big Thriller was. So when they go to their favorite artist, they like, oh, this is like a Thriller. No. Y'all will never experience that because y'all are in this streaming era. We didn't experience that.
No one's passing out at the concerts.
Right. Like you ain't got nobody passing out at concerts. You ain't got us, like y'all saying, people are standing outside waiting for record stores to open to go pick out albums. Ain't nobody doing that no more. So Chris Brown could never have what Usher had with Confessions and forget about what Michael had with Thriller. That is just far removed. Yeah. So
that's in the stratosphere of its own.
That's in the So it's like, look, y'all, Chris Brown is y'all guy. That's fine. Let him be y'all guy. He can, put out albums that got 45 songs that everybody ain't listening to. Let's just be real. And let him be that. That's y'all guy. But y'all can never understand what we had with Ushers with Confessions. Y'all will never get it. Y'all didn't live this. Y'all, Chris Brown could never sell 1.1 million. And what makes it so funny is the fact how we said when we first came in, it was file sharing at this time, and it's still sold 1.1 million. People still went to the record store and got it. So that just goes to show you it's a whole different world now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you can't. There's no comparison. Because again, you cannot do that. Because I'm like, yo, like I was saying, we can sit up there and talk about this album selling 15 million and all that. But a lot of people file shared that joint. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people went and got that joint bootleg. They just did. But again, it's sold 1 million that.
Yeah.
Chris Brown could never do that. So let's stop with that.
I would want Chris Brown to have that sort of success.
Me too.
But it requires like
Me too.
growth.
Yeah.
It
does.
A lot of things has to do with timing. It's a lot that have to do with timing.
Yeah.
It's a lot have to do with luck, right?
Yeah, did you say that everything was aligned? JR said that everything was aligned. Time to do well.
Everything was aligned with this.
In 2004, you had Jill Scott, Beautiful Human, Brandy, Aphrodisiac, Janet Jackson, Demeter Joe, John Legend, Get Lifted, Destiny Child, Destiny Fulfilled, Sierra Goodies. Those just the certain ones I highlighted, right?
Come on, 2004, yes.
2004 was something special.
Yes.
Right? You got the ending of Destiny's Child, right? That's the ending of Destiny's Child.
Yes.
Which birthed which ended up birthing Beyonce's solo career. You got John Legend, who's giving you a Chicago sound. I'm a musician. I'm giving you my intro to who I am because I've been on Kanye's albums and Common and all this other stuff. Sierra, I got the Atlanta sound. So where Usher's stopped, Sierra's Goodies
picks up,
took off.
Right? Yes.
It took off from there. So now you got the whole little snap, the snap music and R&B snap, and now it's crunk art. It was just too much at a time that that era can't be recreated. You just can't recreate. You can't recreate it.
Yeah,
because a new
Bill, I was going to say the same thing, Bill. I was going to say the same thing. You're saying like these albums that we mentioned define a moment in time. Like when you think about it, like it's rare nowadays that an album comes out and you say, "Where was I when this came out? What was going on in my life when this album dropped?" Confessions is going to be that. And it is that for everybody here. Like, so I'll give you an example. I have two teenage boys, one 17 and one 13. So I've asked them, I said, what albums from your generation will you look back and say, I remember where I was when that came out, or I remember what I was doing? They couldn't name me one.
Couldn't name me one.
But when I was that age, I could
to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any Heartbreak, New Edition. I mean, I can just keep going.
Yeah. I remember.
Because now it's so much repurposing the old stuff and sampling the old stuff, right? So.
Yeah. But even a Tevin Campbell's album, I remember where I was when that dropped. I remember when his second album dropped.
Get to the album, right? You had to do the work. You had to get to the store.
Yeah.
The money.
Yeah. And a lot of times we went and bought albums off the strength. We went and bought albums off the strength of one song,
one single,
the first single.
Yeah.
And I bought the single.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You buy the single, then you buy
one
the
side
album.
of the tape had the single, the other side had maybe 20-second excerpts of 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah,
and that's what you bought.
But they didn't make you wait forever. Also, once that single came out,
they did.
Yes,
I remember many times I heard a single and I could go just buy the album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was already out.
Yeah.
So it's a different rollout.
It's
because the labels aren't putting money into a full album. You have to prove yourself. You have to just drop all these little singles here and there, and then loses people's attention span, and it's on to the next thing. So
but you know what, guys? I'm happy for us in our era, the guys. For us in general that grew up and got to see physical copies of CDs and cassettes and vinyls. We got to see that and cherish those moments that we had. And like we said, things lasted like a year or 2 years, and just still have that remembrance. Like I said, Usher snuck up on me because I didn't even see him coming. So when his ass came on floor, I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta get on board. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, this man is coming out with something, fire. And for him to bring in that crunk and beat era, it showed that he has staying power, and he has staying power forever. I mean, I'm really proud of it. So guys, I got 2 more questions for you. So I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna switch it up this time. So T, I'm gonna go to you first. Ooh. So since we have talked about Usher's amazing, iconic 4th album, do you think that this is Usher's best album from his catalog?
Absolutely. Hands down. Just everything that we've talked about in this discussion. We wouldn't even be here and having this discussion if it wasn't. So I sincerely, wholeheartedly believe that this is his best work. The album's well crafted, it's well produced. It surrounds a theme. I mean, it's like I said, it defines an era of music, and it actually influenced so many other albums and artists after it. So when I think of classic albums and artists' best albums, this is an example of that. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, Bill, same question. Do you think this is Usher's best album from his catalog?
In my opinion, I say yes. What My Way, I'm Back, 8701 is not a fluke. Confessions, I'm Here to Stay. Right? And again, when you think about everything, like we all been saying this whole time that we've been on here, everything was crafted perfectly. It did what it's supposed to do. It has the sales, it has the songs, it has everything that we needed for it to say this is the best. I think the gap between 8701 or his other albums to Confessions, that gap is larger than the gap between Chasity. I talked to you about this before. That gap is larger than the gap between Off the Wall and Thriller. Off the Wall and Thrillers, that gap can be like this. I think Usher's albums compared to Confessions, the gap, it may not be as much, but it's larger.
I respect that.
Yeah.
And Jamal, I think Confessions is his last great and cohesive album. I love the new one too, but Confessions was put together so well. I respect that. All right, JR, your turn, my good man. Do you think this is Usher's best album from his catalog?
Yes. Because I mean, it's no bad song at all. Like the way everything was just aligned for this album to be great. You know what I mean? The rollout of it all, the sequencing of this album, like just everything just worked for this album to be the 15 million seller that it is. You know what I mean? And I'm not the big one on sales, but with an album like this and an R&B album, and it's just flawless to me. Like I have no issues with it. Yeah, I give it, y'all know I get burn issues because that's just me. I'm just gonna do that. That's just me. But at the end of the day, I just think how perfect the album is and everything is just, this album just was aligned to be great. You know what I mean? Not just saying the breakup, you know what I mean, with him and Chili breaking up. Even though on Behind the Music, she said the album was damn near done before they broke up. People don't forget that. They forget about that part. Like she was like, the album was completely damn near done when her and Usher broke up. But it's just a great body of work. You can go back to it. Like today, I was listening to it just to get ready for this. And I was like, I still feel like I did when I heard it 20 years ago. And that's what an album is supposed to feel like. A timeless album is supposed to feel like that. When you play it and you just singing along to it, it takes you back to when you first heard it and all that. And Confessions really does that. So I really feel like this is Usher's best album to me.
I respect that. All right, Mr. Byron. So same question to you. Do you think this is Usher's best album from his catalog?
I'm going to agree with everybody else. It is his best album.
Hold on.
I know. You thought I was going to be anti.
I know he was.
My favorite album was.
Hold on, Byron. Hold on. I know I'm tipsy and I know my wig has failed, but baby, I know you sitting up in line. I know you sitting up in line.
Nope.
Go right ahead and tell me yes and why.
So the reason why Chas is mad because I was on her show and she asked what I thought the best album was, and I said 87.
Byron, you freezing. What's going on? Because I gotta see your lips moving. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's frozen.
I'm frozen. You still hear me? I'm still trying to push through. Okay, as long as you can
hear you.
Yeah, we hear you. Go push through. Push through, Byron. It's all right, brother. It's all right.
So I said that my favorite album was 8701.
A lot of Moscato, so I'm trying to get my eyes to function right now.
But as far as body of storytelling goes, I hung on every single word of this album, as did the rest of the world. I think at this point, the reason why I love 8701 so much is because you can hear all his influences. It's really when you got to really know who Usher is. and I've said in the past, like, this is JD's best album, because of the confessions really came from JD's experience. But I feel like Usher was in full command of his artistry in this moment, right? He understands his voice. He's doing things that we had never heard before as far as his falsetto. He surrounded himself with a team, as we just talked about, like Jam and Lewis and Dre and Badal, and as well as B Cox and JD, who really listened to him and who gave him songs that really followed the theme and built upon this amazing story that we got, 17-track story. So I think that everybody fed the hunger that we had, including myself in that moment. And I definitely think Confessions is so important, so monumental. Now, I think that you have to have the other two.
You have to.
It's
yes.
trilogy.
Yes.
You cannot have this without those two albums leading up to it.
We always say that.
And that's because you really got to know Usher as a human being, as a man, to know how important this moment was for him. And yes, to your point, the album was done. The album was poised to come out in November, right? And Chili and he broke up in December. So the only reason they went back to the drawing board was to add to the mix, So even aside from all of the stuff that they went through, this is a great album for anybody who loves R&B music to absorb. This is it. This is what you play for people when you would say that was R&B of my time.
Ooh.
Damn, man.
Right. But Chasity, you see that though. You see, I love Byron so much, but he wanted to make sure he was like, this album wouldn't have been what it was if it wasn't for them two that came before it. See that, right?
I agree with, but I agree with him because people don't understand.
But he's right. He's right.
You have to have that trajectory, like we've always talked about. It has to have, like we said, a build up. And so for me, like me and you talked about when I interviewed Spragg on my show, when I talked about my way was his Bobby Brown Don't Be Cruel. Once he did that, he had to have the 8701. And 8701, like we said, Usher on my episode, we said Usher was becoming a man. He's talking about real life situations. I remember when I got my first heartbreak, I was playing fucking You Got It Bad. You Got It Bad was the one that was getting me through the life. And so me going back to Usher back in 2001 from 07, that's a huge gap. But I mean, for me to think about that resonate with my heart, it did something for me. But then when we got to Confessions, I'm like, wait a minute, hold the fuck up. Usher's coming out with an album and he's coming out with a monster hit like Yeah. And then you got 4-year-olds dancing to Yeah in 2004. It wasn't clicking. So as soon as I heard he hit 1.1 million sales, I said, wait a minute, I need to get this album because the sales kind of gravitate to me because I'm a numbers girl. I love numbers. But for me, I was like, well, let me listen to this body of work. And then when I was with my little cousins, like I'm 14, they're 10, 12, and 8-year-olds, and we're singing That's What It's Made For. We're singing Superstar, Caught Up, the song that Usher didn't like, Caught Up, which I thought was crazy as hell to me. But
that's
that I wasn't, and the crazy part, guys, it wasn't even the point we was just listening to the singles. We listened to from intro to Follow Me. That's how I'm much in love with the album. And I need to understand how my 8-year-old cousin was even connecting with it. But I think because Usher was singing it and we were so gravitated by the music and the artistry, we just knew that he was here to say, and like I said, this was his thriller. This was truly his thriller. Well, no, pause. This was his Confessions.
Yes.
And this
well said. Yes.
Well said, Chad.
Yes.
I'm so proud because even though I always say, this is Confession, this is Thriller, this is Confessions. This is him. This is who he was. And I'm so proud that he did that because he needed everybody to make a huge statement. I know Usher always wanted to be, he always said he wanted to be the greatest. And I feel like this album is the greatest for him, in my personal opinion.
I agree.
Mr. Byron left the chair. I'm so sad. Okay, guys, I got one more question to ask you guys. So, I'll ask all you guys, so you can, take as much time as you can. So I want to start with Bill first. Since today is the 20th anniversary of this beautiful, timeless album, I want to ask you, what one word do you want to describe it? What one moment in your life did this impact for you in your life?
Ooh. One word I use to describe the album is what I'll give everybody who has a quintessential album like this. It's iconic. That's the word I'm going to use, iconic. But thankfully I was able to be alive long enough to go through certain eras of music and being able to live through when it happened. I lived through Don't Be Cruel.
Damn.
Right. I was there when it dropped. I remember because I looked at New Edition as they could be my big brothers or big cousins because of the, how they were and the Cool It Now video and I remember all of that, right? So what he did, he now can, it's almost like when I think about sports, and now I'm in the Hall of Fame. And now that I'm in the Hall of Fame, I have my ring that Michael Jordan has a ring. And, because you got people in the Hall of Fame who don't have rings. But now Usher has a ring. I have a ring to sit at the table with all these other guys. Now, some may be sitting way down there, like the Marvins and the Stevies. They may be way down there, but I'm still sitting at that table with those guys. So for me, when I think about that, I'm not going to say it changed my life because I still was able to experience some of these other great artists. And, again, the New Editions, the Janet Jacksons, when her Control album hit, world went crazy. Hell, I remember when Madonna first came out, she wasn't just on the white side. She was over on our side, and a lot of our people were singing a lot of her songs. Don't get it twisted. We were singing her songs, so I just thank God that I was able to experience the music that I was, that I've been able to listen to and understand. And I know that I've experienced it by living it. And it's a difference from watching highlights of Michael Jordan play to literally watching him play. It's a totally big difference. It's a difference from watching Kobe play from highlights or sitting here watching when he got drafted in 96 and watching him shoot air balls in the playoffs to now watching him become the Mamba. So music, I'm just glad I was able to experience it. And he is one of those guys. He has one. Confessions is that one.
All right, so same question. If you had to describe one word about this album, what one word would you describe it? And not even that, what impact did it do for your life as well?
I'll start with the impact question. Like you, Bill, like I was fortunate and blessed enough to grow up in an era where I was able to consume and immerse myself in so much music. Like I'm from the generation of when Soul Train came on Saturdays. And you saw the artist perform their first single or whatever the B side of that single was going to be. MTV and their videos, Video Soul, and all the interviews from those. So you were immersed in music, not only auditory but also visually all the time. And this album came out. I was at a pivotal point in my life too. I was about to be engaged at that point, starting my career. Just trying to figure things out. But this is probably one of those first R&B albums that I could truly instantly relate to because I'd already been through some of those things that Usher sang about on that album. So like I said, I lived that experience. So to me, the word I would use to describe it, just based on my life experience and growing up at that time, influential.
Oh, damn! I don't even know what one word I'm gonna say. Shit, damn! Y'all got me thinking. Shit. JR, with you, if you had to describe one word about this timeless album, Confessions, one word would it be, and what impact did it do for your life?
All right, this album is damn, Chassie, damn, you asking this. I would say for me it would be Love. Because this album means very much to me and my family for real, and a lot of them are not here anymore. So, when I listen to this album, it takes me back to when they were here. So it's like, when I first got the album, it was like I said, it was like my whole family loved it. This was a time where we all was able to bond with each other. You know what I mean? I'm 18. My brother was 17. And it was like, you know, my mom and my dad and my uncle and my cousin, and we were all able to relate and talk about it. So it was like this became the family album. So anytime that we would go out and we would go on a trip somewhere, they would be like, JR, don't forget Confessions, like don't forget it. And it just, for me, it's just about family and love, because it's like when I listen to this album, a lot of them are not here. So it just brings me back to there. And the music was so good. You know what I mean? Because as y'all know, I'm just an R&B head, and I get that from my family. So with an R&B album like this, and for all of us to love it, it's very hard to get between the ages of 18 to 70 to love one album and everybody love it. So for me, for my family, it's about love, because we all loved it and we all sung along to it. And it was like we would go from New York to South Carolina and we would just play it. And that's a 12-hour trip. So the album is only damn near an hour and 10 minutes? So we're playing this album 12 times and nobody's getting sick of it. So anytime like today, so when I was driving today and I was just listening to it, I could just, you know, hear my dad. My dad's a hip hop head and he's singing Caught Up. And I have my brother, Desmond, who God bless his soul, he's sitting there singing Do It To Me. And you got my mom singing That's What It's Made For. And you got my grandma singing Throwback. Like, it's just, this album just means a lot to me. And it impacts me so much, because it just makes me smile, because it's like, wow, all my family was here. We were happy. Everything was good. You know what I mean? So I can always go back to this album and just smile. And because the music is so good, I'm able to smile. So that's what I say this album for me is love.
Oh, that's so sweet. So, but yeah, I love that, because I know how much your family means to you, and I think that moment for you, I know how Confessions is to you. So I had to say the best for last, to find the ultimate #1 Usher fan of all fans.
I'm waiting for the spin of the chain. I'm waiting. So this episode is gone, Byron. You got to spin it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Too done. If you had to describe one album, child, look, this album. That's how you know I'm tipsy. If you had to describe one word about this beautiful, timeless album, Confessions, what one word would it be? And also, what impact did it do for your life?
Sure. The word generational comes to mind. You know, we've been talking a lot about this. JR, at the beginning of the show, you mentioned family, and we talked about the impact of Thriller being ever present in all of our households growing up, right? So that album came out in '82. You know, I'm just 2 years younger than that. So I didn't get to experience the rollout of that album, but how I wish I could have.
Oh man!
When all the songs were dropping in the Studio 54 or wherever people were jamming, you know. So in my lifetime, this was the first album that I got to see R&B moving the needle and having such an impact nationwide and globally, breaking barriers across races. Yeah. You know, you go to any African-American household and you have more than one copy of Thriller. Like you mentioned, Bill, like you have 2 or 3. Same with my family. We have so many different records. You had the one with him on the actual record. We had the, you know, the clear packaging, all the stuff, right? With this and the special edition, you had no choice but to have more than one in the house. Everybody had their own copy of this album as well. So that's the reason why, JR, your family, no matter what the generation, had their favorite song, because they all had their time to absorb and bond with this album. You know what I mean? So, and on a deeper note, you know, in 2003, because R&B was like becoming this hip hop collaboration category, you know, someone who loves R&B so much can feel like lost and not represented during that time. Not to say that you don't appreciate hip hop, soul, and all that, but sometimes you just want to hear some singing. You know what I mean? And sometimes the finger snapping just wasn't me. It wasn't a time. It's a time and place for everything, and that just wasn't me all the time. So this album was the hope that there's more to R&B's lifeline, and that there was still a pulse, you know, for real R&B music, and it continues to be that. And you know, I'm with you, T. You know, I'm a father now, and when I think about like passing down like those time capsules of what music was, Confessions is going to be one of those records that I give to my son and say like, this is when music was real, and it's a reminder that a brother was doing it too. So you know, it's a reminder that this little person can listen to this as well as Thriller and any other influential album, and know that they can be a follower, and that they don't have to be a follower, that they can be a leader, and they can be a legend if they choose to. So that's what this album is. So.
Y'all better. Oh my God, y'all just give me so. I don't even know what the comeback from this, but I know for me, I feel like this album is fun. I call this album my fun album because there's a lot of albums that I listen to and I'm very like, I love ballads and stuff like that. Everybody knows I'm a ballad girl. I'm a team ballad. But I feel like when I listen to Confessions, I feel like it was a time where I just had a lot of fun. Like I remember the times that, you know, even though the theme was about, you know, cheating and all this stuff like that, but I don't really think about that too much because it was so gravitating to having fun. And, you know, and, you know, Confessions Part 2 when Burn, and even though Burn is a ballad, you know, I don't really even think to be in a sad place. I just think about the album just being so much fun because I think, like you said, Byron, beautiful, like when Crunk and B came in so strong, you don't really even think about the sadness, you think about the fun times. You think about what you said about everybody coming through like Sierra and Destiny Child. They came with so much energy. Our New Jack Swing of 2004. I'm not saying that, you know, a lot of stuff was sad, but it was just so much energy and fun. I don't even think about the dark times in that year.
Yeah.
So for me, Usher just made a lane for everybody you can make great music and you convey your message greatly, but I think if you make it fun for people, they're going to last forever. And I think Confessions for me is definitely Usher's, you know, Thriller, whatever for them. But I know Usher was the one to really, really open doors for a lot of people. And if we wouldn't have Confessions, we wouldn't have Goodies. We wouldn't have Chris Brown. We wouldn't have Trey Songz. We wouldn't have all the people that came after. They couldn't make it through without Usher. So Usher has, I think for me, this was one of the fun times of my life. I was in 9th grade. My world geography teacher told me to shut the was singing Burn. He was pissed off we was singing Burn. So JR, you had a co-signer. But I think when you see a man like that, a white man, that is from different race like you, know that Usher was singing Burn in all the class. And I mind you, I was at a white school and we're all singing Burn. Yeah. And so for me, it's fun. It will be always my fun album. And not even that, it was gravitating and innovating. And I'm proud that Usher did this. And that's why it's 15 million now. So, like, I mean, it's fun. And it was my great memories of my freshman year in high school, 9th grade. Just learning about life and just learning about high school experiences. This really album for me is really, really a fun time in my life that I really got to enjoy the success of a Black man breaking away and breaking through in the music industry. And I'm proud. I wish he would have got album of the year, but we know what happened. So
Ray Charles, you know.
Ray Charles, yeah.
Even Ray Charles can see he shouldn't have won.
Right. God, I still remember watching the Grammys that year and cussing at the TV.
Me too. I did too. Because you knew it was like Usher was meant for that.
It was a lifetime achievement award that year. That's basically what it was. Just call it what it is.
There it is. Period.
But guys, I do pose one more question. If you had to say anything to Usher today on the 20th anniversary, what would you say to him today about Confessions?
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. You did it. Thank you. You did it.
Thank you.
You did it.
Thank you.
Like, and don't try to recreate it.
That's
leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
I never want him.
Don't re-record it. Yeah, don't re-record it. Don't do that.
In this new album, Confessions 2, right? So I'm so glad that changed because I don't think you need to ever chase.
No.
There's more to your story. You don't have to get caught up in that album.
Yeah.
What he did, and music is different now.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yes.
But thank you, Usher, for everything that you have given us. You've given us a lifetime of music to work with. We will be playing this, and our children will be playing this, and their children will be playing this album. So that is the making of a timeless classic album. And not many people can say that they've done that, or many things that you have done in this lifetime in your career.
That's right.
Drop the mic.
And damn, we can end it with that. Do y'all have any upcoming projects, guys, that y'all doing? I'm already drunk, so I mean, well, excuse me, I can't say I'm already tipsy. Excuse me, sorry, Lord. But yeah, I mean, y'all have any upcoming projects y'all got going on and anything of that nature that y'all want to promote?
Well, first of all, I already know JR. Nice to meet you, Bill. Nice to meet you, Byron. We need to follow each other on social media.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can connect and interact there, man. Because y'all brothers are super knowledgeable, man. I appreciate getting to know you guys. But as far as me, my co-host and I, QG, we have a monthly music show where we hit on various topics. April 6th, 6 p.m. Check us out on IG Live. Topic of the show is going to be The South Got Something to Say. And we're going to talk about the rise of hip-hop in the South. So, yeah, y'all check us out. That'll be part 1.
Make sure you put some Luke on there.
So check us out on there. Yeah, of course. Yeah. He's Godfather. He don't
Florida, man. We Florida down.
Yeah, man. I ain't gonna listen. You know I ain't gonna talk about hip hop in the South without mentioning Luke now.
Yeah, let's talk about Luke. We had Florida rocking.
But yeah, check us out, man. Yeah, and follow me on at When the Needle Drops, man. I love connecting with fellow music lovers.
Absolutely. 90s R&B University. Me and my co-host Shan, we still riding with y'all. So please check us out and follow us at 90s R&B University on Instagram so you can catch when the new episodes drop. We do about 2 every month. So, looking forward to having you listen to our conversations. We got some good ones coming up. This is season 4. So thank you. And thank you, brothers. This is great to meet Bill and T. JR and Chasity, I love y'all to pieces.
Yeah.
We got two new family members today.
Yeah, man, for sure.
John, you got up, sir? Or Bill?
It's on me or Bill? Oh, it's on me. All right. Well, y'all know I'm one half of the R&B representatives. Me and my co-host Naturally Elise. Y'all know we do catch that, which all of y'all now, Bill, you guys to get on. Everybody has been on. Our latest episode that we're going to be doing is Janet Jackson's Demeter Joe. So we will be talking about that, the Super Bowl. So you got to talk about it. It's going to be a real conversation. We had a therapy session on this episode. So, just follow us, the R&B Reps, on Instagram, on Twitter. Junior's World of Soul on Instagram, JR's R&B Rep on Twitter. You know how that foolishness went down. But yeah, man, it's just amazing, Bill, to meet you for the first time. This is wow. This is a family, and I love this. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to get all emotional on this shit. But it's like, for me, it's like I felt out of place. And to find all of you guys that love music as much as I do, you know what I'm saying? And we can talk about it and go crazy with it. It's just amazing, the family that we built. And it's just to show y'all R&B ain't going nowhere, y'all. Y'all got all of these people up in here that got platforms that talk about it. You can't talk like R&B is dead and all this. It's right here. Everybody do their own thing when it comes to this. And it's just amazing. And I'm just so happy to have a family that I can connect with and talk my mess and be shady as I want to be, and y'all get it. And it's just an amazing thing. So Chassie, thank you for this. This was just amazing to get with some brothers to talk about a dude that has an album like this that's so timeless, and we can really give him his respect and all that, and have a platform full of the guys. It's amazing to me, y'all. Yeah. I'm gonna have so many of these tonight. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all. I appreciate it. For real.
And y'all just catch I'm one half of And in His Corner. We're at And in His Corner with the number 1 behind it. My co-host Barry and myself, we talk about anything media. We do music. We try to focus on the 90s era, 80s, 90s music, R&B, definitely. We do venture out into some jazz, some rap every now and then. Not too much rap, but jazz and gospel. We do movies, things about movies as well. So we try to play around with different topics. We had Chasity on. We have an episode called Who Did It Better, where we take the original, we take the cover, and who did it better. So we'll definitely be linking up with our new family members, and we go do something. Let's keep this rocking. I like it. Panel cool as all outdoors. I ain't drunk yet, but
man.
I I truly appreciate you guys. And also I want to give one more shout out to the artist Federico, who did this flyer for us, this timeless flyer, this confessions.
Yeah,
oh my God.
flyer.
Oh God, that was fire.
I'm glad I didn't get his flyers at first, but I'm so proud that he did this for us. He was so thankful that he was so happy to do this flyer, but he was so intrigued and he was so happy to make this happen for us. So Federico, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And guys, I thank you, JR, Bill, T, and Byron. You really, really have made my dreams come true. This is my number 2 album of all time. And for years, I've always wanted to have a team to talk about confessions and like Usher and see how everybody felt at the time. Because for me, you know, I was a young 14-year-old girl, you know, find out about life and just having fun. But I think for all of us to do this, for Usher to give him his flowers and, you know, just to give him the love that he deserves. I know for sure Usher will watch it because Usher, I know you watch. You do. And for at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, Usher, you really, really are a man of your word and a man in your own lane. And for you, you are an icon. You are a legend. You are a person that deserves your flowers. And I'm so proud to do this for you for Confessions. And guys, we are done with the 20th anniversary. Oh my God, 20 years. Damn, I'm saying that. 20 years of this iconic album, Confessions.
Shout out to everybody in the chat also, because they
Yes,
shout out
Chat
to
was
y'all.
Chat been lit, man.
Chat was rocking with us.
Yeah, Robin
so
Tick also.
much.
Shout out to Robin Tick.
right.
Right. Thank you, Rob. Look, and shout out to Robin Tick for proposing us. I mean, I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Anybody that was involved in Confessions, from J Lag, you know, Brian Michael Cox, Jermaine Dupri, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, Dre Vidal, Ryan Toby, my girl, Patrice Butterfly Stewart. She deserves all her flowers for being a background vocalist. And I mean, just giving that sound for my favorite song of all time. But everybody who contributes to this album, from Robin Thicke, the Villa Brothers, you know, the list goes on and on. You guys, Rich Harrison, y'all deserve y'all flowers as well.
Yeah,
thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, guys. And we are done with the 20th anniversary of Confessions. All right.
All right.
That's it.
Appreciate y'all. All right. Enjoyed it.
Dope.